Yeah. I would like to have known, or to know eventually how much time we have before something happens. Albus would have wanted to build very basic fortification defenses.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and prepare both Sunbeam and Windwalk. And if we need a GTFO spell, we can use it because it's prepared.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much figuring as a hip pocket kind of spell, like a Hail Mary kind of thing.
But like the holes in the ceiling are.
What was your Hail Mary?
Windwalk. I scroll up. You can see it.
Oh yeah, I'm actually familiar. It's cool. I had heard that you said I have a get out of jail card and all this, and I was waiting for you all to be done talking about it because I also have one called Word of Recall. Are you familiar with that? If we need a get out, that's a get out.
Is that for everybody?
5 willing creatures within 5 feet of me.
So it's you plus 5?
It's me plus works. 5, and we teleport to anywhere we like pre-designated. So we could go.
Oh shit, that's a nice GTFO.
That's why I thought of it. I was like, well, hold up. If I only get 1 slot in 6, so if I put it on that and we need to get somewhere, we can be there right now.
You do have to
leave Keen behind.
Cast it in a designated sanctuary.
Yeah, we have to pick where it's going to
linked to your deity.
Oh,
that's interesting.
That's a nice, interesting
dedicated
detail.
Or strongly linked to my deity. I barely know my deity. She's a face in the crowd. She's a song on the wind. You know what I'm saying?
So we have to figure out some solution to that.
Yeah, we do.
Probably a recognizable song, tune, or maybe
maybe
smell, like a lady in the red dress.
Maybe
that's exactly right. So Lauren hit on it, but the thing is, I do know that. I have a muse. Ugh.
Well, maybe prepare Sunbeam then instead while you guys figure out what you're going to do and then RP it.
You have to build a shrine to her.
I mean, you got shit to do.
That's what I'm saying. She's on the wind. A shrine to her would be like,
Yeah, I don't mean that it has to be a chapel or an altar. I'm saying that you much like the fan of an idol, need to make a shrine to her.
Oh, great. A little room with a bunch of stickers or pictures.
Right.
Red all over the wall.
You associate with her.
Or develop it in your own heart kind of thing. Like a space in your heart.
Well,
because we can't go to our place. Yeah, it has to be a place.
Otherwise, he'll kill himself the first time he casts it.
I get what you're saying. That's interesting. So I can't use Word of Recall until I can find some place that's really like the temple of of my performances, like Red Rocks.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious. All right. I guess I'll do Sunbeam.
I have Sunbeam as well. So the three of us could light it up with sunbeams.
Or harm. I think I have to touch someone for harm though, right? Oh no, it's a violent disease.
I did not prepare heal. It's awesome, but
yeah, I mean, choices. I was gonna say I can also do the 70 hit points, right?
Mass healing word is pretty damn good. Being able to spread it out among us is probably more useful in a situation than just one direct big heal on someone.
I have mass healing word ready.
Yeah, I can do a pretty decent point heal myself too. So
I have like 6 healing spells. They're lower level, but they can keep somebody alive.
Are y'all familiar with Forbiddance? Because I could also prepare that.
What is Forbiddance?
That means once you're here, you can't leave. If I cast Forbiddance, you can't.
Pass.
Yeah, well, it's you shall not split.
Interesting.
It's you got here, you're staying for the duration.
I think that spell, if you cast that in this particular location of all places, would cause some disruptions to your thing that you just set up, your nice gate here.
That's very true, because it's a ward against magical travel
everywhere else.
40,000 square feet.
Right.
Ouch.
But yeah, it would basically prevent any planar travel. It doesn't say it, but I feel like that would also prevent the use of banishment.
It seems like it.
And Windwalk.
No, not Windwalk, because that's physical travel. The Forbiddance is planar
magical
teleportation travel.
Oh, okay.
I also have Blade Barrier. And create undead, but that's that's perverse. I pipe you back to life, wicked.
No, let's not do that one.
No, but blade barrier sounds like it might be useful.
Do you even have 3 corpses of medium or small humanoids? I guess
You'd make them.
Yeah, you gotta make them first.
But I mean, you could make them, one turn away from raising them and turning them back on the people that were attacking you moments before.
Right. Let me tell you what's going on here. After you arrived and after you charismatically banished Saint Cicessa from your home, Dex went straight to work on putting together the obelisk, and he has using his toolkit to measure the information that he needs about the location and manifold of the space to carve those digits he needs to carve to get it working. He's almost done when the Redshift begins that night. And he'll just shout back to anybody who's listening. Well, I know we're almost 3 years in, but if you have any doubts about this obelisk, now is the time to begin your retreat. But I think I'll be done in another hour or so. So
yeah, I'm just gonna keep up my work.
We can always go
Nimbus,
through the portal if we have to.
Exactly. Nimbus, hand me one of those big batteries. We'll need to insert them soon.
Oh, absolutely. Here you go.
Of course, about a day later, when the Redshift does arrive, you are subsumed and it passes over harmlessly. Glancing through the gate, you see that there's no bleed through on the other side. He says, okay, now I don't want anybody to step through the gate yet while the Redshift is on. We don't know how the spatial movement between spaces will interact with the actual storm.
I hear you.
I have some thoughts about how we might test this, but we'll have to wait until it reaches the western area to be certain. So until then, I have orders to not let anybody through, and we'll do what we can while we're in another 5 days or so. So just avoid the basement for now, if you like.
Likewise, though, we should definitely keep a constant guard on the entry-exit sort of areas. We don't know where that purple thing came on in from, but I don't really think the obelisk is going to stop them in any measurable way. They could appear at any time. We should definitely keep this room defended.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take a nap, so I will leave that to you.
What's the sir? What's the border of this obelisk?
It will extend about 50 feet out from the outside of the walls.
So 15, 20, 25, 30,
So, like,
35, 40, 45, right here?
Yeah, roughly there.
Sweet. That gives me enough room to still do what I want to, so I can Alvis Taver will volunteer for taking guard up front because he's trying to work the earth Likewise, I see that there are a couple of trees. What kind of trees are around here?
They're not they're not particularly special, but they are. I mean, if you're looking for like lumber,
Not so much just for the lumber. I just like if these are conifers, it'll be more useless. If it's like an elm or like your classic like leafy tree, then this will be useful. I'm trying to like basically mulch the first 5 to 10 feet around the perimeter to make the land weak for footing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's both types of trees, but yeah, you can find what you need, and you might not be able to get at it too easily with the redshift on right now.
Yeah.
But your plan will hold water at some point.
You said 50 from the obelisk?
50 outside the wall.
Outside the wall.
Oh. So is this about the edge of the wall then?
Yeah, so another 50 feet beyond that would.
Okay, so 120.
It's like roughly that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm essentially doing is I'm tilling the earth and then sporadically I'm shoving sticks and such so that there can be better drainage. And later on, I'm going to ask Nimbus if he could create some water to help swamp up a good chunk of this to make it so that if that captain thing comes again, it would have to either float or something.
Oh, the that captain thing does fly, but
Shit.
it did
Minions
bring with it
didn't,
many
though.
things that didn't fly.
Right.
It did. But I'm trying to make difficult terrain around the.
Well, why don't you just ask me to do that? Because I'm the one that makes difficult terrain.
Your difficult terrain is a spell used for emergency situations. You could absolutely help me.
Difficult terrain with a spade.
Yeah, I'm trying to create a military encampment. Like I would absolutely an entrenchment rather. I would absolutely like your help though if you were willing to. Perhaps you could encourage some of these cuttings that I'm making here to grow deeper roots, thus making the soil less solid. I'm essentially trying to create a bog.
In the basement.
Yeah, that's an actual that's a fence and a defense right there. This is for people walking up to the fortress. This fortress should be the only good fortified ground that there is here, so that when people come up here, we have plenty of opportunity and time to read.
Okay.
Yes, Mount Lauren, there is a second story.
Yeah, that's why on my list of things, like I said there, we got to get the roof covered too.
Right.
However, Mont, you recall that when you visited in the past, the staircase up was directly to the south of where your token is right now. And if you look up and if you look at that wall, there is no the staircase has rotted away, as well as the majority of the floor right above you has also rotted away. So you're going to have to find some way to climb up there instead.
Got it.
Or float. Or fly.
Yeah, we could have Badaf take a look around, for example.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
Okay. Let me move Badath into a location then, because then you'll get to see a little bit of what's in there.
Yeah.
collapsed bits of rubble here and there. He doesn't see any remains of like what look to be furniture or anything, and these floors are definitely going to need some shoring up before they fall on somebody's head. Um, but there's a few what used to be rooms up here, uh, bits and pieces of a roof and a corner tower. Um, but it's more dangerous than useful at this current time. I would also like to note that we have this basement in the northwest square, which is the basement floor. Floor one, there would be a door to another room on the same level, um, with a fireplace in it. That is just too hard to portray on this map, so just assume that there's a floor above the basement.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Is it accessible and usable?
Yeah. It's easy for you to get to. It just would be awkward to draw on this map with the
Yeah, okay.
2 floors. The basement is only that smaller chamber, though. There's not like a whole building-sized basement down there.
It's pretty dangerous up there. It's gonna need a lot of repairs. It's gonna need a lot of repairs. I don't know if it'd be faster to get a crew in to rebuild it, or simply deal with the tower at Vest, and then the children can fix the place up and make new things grow out of it or whatever. I don't know.
Well, at the speed your friends work, you could probably get some people in here to at least shore things up in a week or two, especially being able to ship materials through the gate.
Yeah, actually, if the gate shipment and being able to get folks over from there, that's a good point. They probably will be able to build it quicker.
By now, there's a pretty easy path up the mountain from Silex. So it's not trivial, but relatively easy to get like decent sized shipments all the way up the mountain. There's a bridge and some hammered in stairs that people can use. You don't have to climb any sheer cliffs anywhere.
Would have been
Burrow
nice if
speed
we
of
could have
20.
kept some of those exploding rocks as traps of our own to use.
They're pretty
Yeah.
volatile. Continue.
No. You said burrow speed of 20 feet, and I just said yeah.
Indeed. That sounds faster to me. At least faster than one being hand used, manual.
Yeah, no. I think Alvis is even surprised by how much he might be able to get done.
So basically, what you said is you're making like a band of earth into difficult terrain just outside the wall, right?
Yeah. I'll try to build it up to as close as I'm comfortable to getting to the Redshift wall and also working.
Cool. Okay.
So probably like maybe 4 feet away from it because I don't want to trip and fall into it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would suck. So yeah, you set to working on that. You guys have tents and stuff in the wagon that you can set up wherever you like to in here. It gets to be a bit rainy, but once you light the fireplace, it's a bit drafty in this building. Obviously, there's not much of a roof or doors, or the windows are long since rotted away and cracked open. But you can make it a little more comfortable. And we said last time that you were going to hang one of those pennants on each side of the building, correct?
Yep.
Indeed.
So, while people are keeping watch, you'll see some of those purple guardians pop out of the ground, look around. They might even make eye contact, so to speak, with you if you're in such a place that they can actually see you. But seeing the emblems on the walls seems to satisfy them, and you are unbothered for now.
So what we need to do with those banners and anything else that we hang up is to see what we can do to ensure that they can't be blown away, torn down, shredded, or otherwise defaced, so that would cause the guards to say, oh, who are these guys?
Get them very secure and make sure Pontus gets you a few spares.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we need to make sure we have extras, but in terms of what we can do right here, right now, I know we can't go outside the gate. So how are we hanging these? Can we go up on the ramparts?
Do you see that
can,
blue
you
ring?
can go a little ways outside the gate. You have a pretty wide radius.
Right, but didn't Dex say he didn't want anybody to go outside the gate?
No, he said he didn't want anybody to go through the magical gate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought Elvis and
interface with the Redshift.
Yeah, I thought Elvis and Nimbus hung the banners before the obelisk got built anyway.
I think you guys did do that
Okay.
last session.
Yeah.
There was talking about going to hammer those up. Which is, Nimbus can levitate or fly. You guys have the resources to do that, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Naya's right, though. You'll probably want somebody to take a second pass, and you'll probably want to make sure you check on those every,
Yeah, in terms of anybody walking the ramparts, taking guard shift or whatever, I mean, at least part of 25% of their job needs to be checking those banners and making sure that they are still up and visible. Because if something should happen that all those banners go away, we are target city.
Yeah, if Alvis hears this, he'll while he's doing his dirt digging, he'll keep an eye up on them too.
Cool.
That's important.
Also, after Dex is done with the obelisk, Arsa will pop up. After he's gone to take his nap late into the evening, but whoever else is awake. Hi.
Hi.
I felt a new one pop up into the net. Good work, everyone.
I'm glad.
Was that a Risai here?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go over and see.
Brush sweat off my brow. Keen's been working really hard.
Into like dead of night, right? Like.
Oh yeah, it's like midnight by now. But
so I don't have the spotlight yet, but I do have the light stick.
I was staying up until they got it online. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, good idea to stay awake in case we needed to bug out, though.
Well, it must work if I'm here. So you're probably all safe, right?
Yep. So far, so
probably
good. Well, I can almost see the gate working from the other side. She blinks away for a second and then blinks back to where you are. They're not exactly in sight of each other, but
wouldn't that be trippy? You seeing yourself?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm still working on this. Well, I've been poking away at the theory of this crystal thing. I've gotten
Thank you.
Van to help me out with the materials and everything, and I made Lucent, be my hands for a little while. But I don't know. I'm not sure how to. I don't know how to make a proxy, especially with a broken. I mean, I'm not giving up, but I just thought I'd let you know that.
That's absolutely fine. I'm not looking for the knowledge of how to make one, just simply the bare bone basics of how this technology works.
Yeah, it's high arcana. This is stuff that people way, way before my time were working on.
When we first came to the fallen tower there were all of those weird gadgets with those the tubes with the copper in them and the glass screens on the boxes. I
and
wonder.
That's how I'm all connected to the obelisk network.
Yeah. Does everybody have one of those? Was there one of those back where the destroyed crystal was at that we could, from Paladin, that we could recover?
No, those things are more some of the stuff that the me and my predecessors were putting together. They're good for like reading the stars and keeping track of where they move mostly. When it comes to the proxy herself and the secretary, she's integrated very deeply into the actual structure of my tower and the secretary's tower. And the other ones, they have their own similar setups, although they don't have towers of their own, as you saw in the other locations. But it's all different tech, and if I had something to go on, I could probably grasp it. But I'm working pretty blind here, even with this hunk of crystal in front of me. And if I could get the proxy out of it, if I could get the proxy out of me, if I could just talk to her, I'm sure she knows how it works herself. But also, like I said before, I don't want to go to Gemery just in case she does know how to jump into the obelisk network,
Absolutely. Yeah.
It'd be spooky.
We need to be sure.
It's fair.
It's don't think that you aren't up against an almost insurmountable challenge here. As in my research as a sage, I've come to kind of appreciate the thought that if you gave a person a body of a person and the materials to make a new person, they would not be able to do that because that's not the procedure, and therefore kind of think about it the same way here, that I'm not entirely sure how where the whole process begins, and so to start with the end product makes it so difficult. That's just one piece in what could be a much larger machine.
Well, don't try too hard to discourage me. I'm not giving up.
Oh, no. Keep on trying. It just makes me wonder if there's somewhere we might be able to find notes and documents and details somewhere on the outer rim perimeter with the weird tentacle zone.
I was even thinking if perhaps there was another place we could get a red crystal like the one in Gimmery.
You'd have to kill her for it, and then that doesn't do us a whole lot of good.
No.
Well, so much for that downer of a conversation. Don't worry. We'll figure something out.
Well, hang in there. Don't burn yourself out.
We
Oh,
just
don't
need
worry,
to
I've
find
got
more
not
answers.
a whole lot better to do with my afterlife here.
How would you not, not necessarily taking the materials in mind, how would you, using the processes from your own era, attempt to create something that would communicate in this way? Like, where would you start with that process?
Well, what I've been looking at the real theory of is trying to build a container for the mind. But usually those are like hollow vessels or something like that. And I don't think these crystals use the same concept. They're not hollow after all. But I don't know what it is that allows them to contain the proxy soul. Truthfully, I don't even know if she has a soul or if she's more of a construct. I mean, they always say the secretary is still the same person she was, back from when she was alive. But as for the proxies, like, are they? They're supposed to be copies of her, but does that mean we copied the soul, or does that mean she's, just a big hunk of crystal who thinks she's the same person? I don't know. There might be a completely different philosophy at play here.
Let me ask you this. How would you copy somebody's personality and identity and memories into something in a non-destructive manner where you don't kill the person in extracting it, not some sort of necromancy, but perhaps more along the lines of an illusory, no, maybe not illusory. Well, that might get you.
Actually, that might be a good way to. That might be a good path to go down. I'll have to think about that one and maybe look into the illusion school, because that sounds a little bit more promising than maybe I've been getting a little too close to necromancy after all.
Well,
I'm too
I,
much of a ghost, and that's where my brain is going, I guess.
Well, now that's the question, though. Are you a ghost, or is your form illusory?
I don't feel illusory, but I guess an illusion would say that, wouldn't they?
A very good one would, yes.
Well, a sentient one might say, no, I changed my body, but it's still me.
What a good question. I wonder if there's a way to find out.
I don't know.
Well, Lauren, you can. We have people here that can detect whether something is undead or not, right? Surely, necromancy and the undead would correlate. So, I think that's something that we've already potentially looked at this point. Do we remember any such results?
Technically, I'm not here. I'm all the way over there. She points west.
And yet you are.
That's a projection, right?
That definitely leans itself more
hologram.
to illusion or perhaps transmutation as well, depending on certain things, I suppose. But yeah, if you've been dwelling more in necromancy for the answer, I urge you definitely consider conjuration, transmutation, consider illusion.
Okay, I'm gonna go wake up Van.
That's nice.
Let us know how it goes.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Arissa.
Well, I'm glad I didn't end that one on a downer, because golly, I realized I did kind of explain it to be the near impossible there.
She's a pretty hard person to keep down.
It's fair to consider the problem at that scope, though, to be honest. She may never crack that.
Yeah, she may never crack that.
If she can't, I think we need to shut that place down.
I don't know what we ought to do with it. If there is no response to us intruding upon the tower from Gemery, I say we just leave it be. It could be anywhere from a tourist attraction to potential.
Yeah, that's my reaction.
That's sort of the Elvis Tavern business talking. But no, I'm wondering if once we've got access to the tower, we might be able to get access to more of the notes and details and processes to be able to know what we're dealing with, and then kind of move on from there. Or could be after the Redshift's been resolved, it becomes a lot easier to fix that sort of stuff. I have no idea what's going to happen to the Star Tower when we resolve the Redshift.
Right. For all we know, it all shuts down. Or it reverts back to its original settings. Or, like, honestly, we have no way of knowing until we go to the tower and find out. I don't mean that we need to go back there right now and go turn Gemery off, for lack of a better word. I mean that they don't know what they are, and they're reliving the same day over and over and over again.
Right.
That's hell.
That's an infernal realm, right?
Well,
So
I would
without
rather use
assigning
the
it,
castle.
without assigning it to a realm, it is kind of like a loop. It's just kind of like a data loop, and it's just replays over and over and over. Oh, see, that would be like a tape.
yeah, well, I mean, we have interacted with them. We know that they are
right. We know
capable
that
of
they are
change. It just doesn't.
It doesn't stick.
Keep.
Yeah. But it is one of those where it would be interesting to see if we had what is that? Like, I don't know if it's true seeing or sending or what, but maybe it's one of the ones where you can see at a distance.
Crying?
Yeah, maybe scrying. Let me look here. Yeah. If we could actually, what would be better? Because scrying is a one-shot wonder and a little dangerous, as Naya remembers. It would be great if we had another one of those recording devices like we had for the Dragon Lair back.
I know there's been talk of maybe putting it around.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And somewhere maybe outside of the main building where the proxy resided, where we found the crystal. But then having it there, just the comings and goings, and kind of recording not just a visual but an audio would be helpful as well. And I know that's another whole nother level of complication, but if we had something like that, something that could be dropped by Badath or Ruby, or you know what I mean, and just kind of flit about and then leave that object there, recording what's going on, we would have a heads up if they're actually marshaling forces to come to the support of the tower. That's the thing that I would want to know, is that are they marshaling forces and preparing to send an army out in support of the tower?
Also, as a reminder, last week when Ruby and Mizia went there, Ruby was caught by a invisible, non-existent glass jar before.
What?
Oh, they told you about this when you got back to Alcine's last time. While they were checking out Gemery, those two, Ruby decided to try talking to one of the civilian proxies.
Oh, right. You thought it was a bug that it could capture?
And it captured him in a non-existent glass jar before Mizia knocked him out and they got away.
I think I missed the part where he was actually captured in a non-existent jug.
I remember that.
Yeah, I do too.
I remember the attempt.
Yeah, he got away, but they did get him in a jar that wasn't there.
So would the jar be something like a static field? Containment field?
Ruby
I
told you
assumed it was a projection, right? Like
What'd you say,
everything
sir?
else there.
Ruby told you it felt and tasted like glass.
It felt and tasted like what?
Glass.
Glass, yeah.
Oh,
Like a
okay.
jar would.
Right, okay. That's right. I remember that. Okay. That's some trick, isn't it? So yeah, I think maybe Badath and our Fae friend, and maybe not Ruby unless he stays out of range. But dropping something like that recording device, even if it only lasts for a week or 10 days or something, that could be really helpful in terms of giving us advanced knowledge and getting here to defend.
It's a little bit more difficult than simply dropping it in place. If I remember, we had to take a little bit to properly secure it and let it latch on. If we were going to have it placed there, I think coming through, pretending to be, Veshin, Royal Guard or whatever, and claiming that it's being placed as an upgrade to the facility would be a lot easier for it to swallow, though there's no guarantee that when it resets, it won't see the thing as an intrusion and destroy it.
Right.
So instead, we would have to place it nearby, and then we would also have to have
Wasn't
scouts
there a
come
main
by
gate?
and re-battery it every time. But yeah,
Wasn't
either-
there a main gate to the place?
either the main
Or were
gate
there
or,
multiples?
if I remember correctly, there were some reasonably tall hills and outcroppings nearby that we could potentially put it on, so we can have a wide view of the place from a bit of a distance.
Yeah, I'm also looking at maybe setting on the top of a tower.
Yeah, that could work. Setting it somewhere where they won't
nobody's
notice would
likely
be
to,
good.
right,
Yeah,
won't notice it and are not likely to fiddle with it.
that's
But
the
mainly
other.
having a view of the gate so that we can see if 1,000 or 10,000 troops go out the door.
Right.
I mean, we may not know why, but unless they come back all the next day as part of a loop or something, I would kind of figure that that's a call from the tower to come and defend.
Well, at this point, I also have no idea if it's the same day that's replaying or if it's perhaps a stretch of time that's being replayed, in which case it could be that they go out sometimes and then come back, but
Right.
it's not because they're deploying out to anything, it's just because that's what day of the repeating year that they're stuck in, perhaps it is. And they go to some hills that don't exist anymore, and they pretend to fight some troll that isn't there anymore, that's long dead, that they slayed that day, thousands of years ago, 1,000+ years ago. We absolutely have no idea. So that would also really help, is just knowing a bit more about their patterns. We don't really spend days on end usually observing the entire facility. So that would really help give us a lot more information about their, comings and goings and such.
And I'm presuming we are not going to man this outpost at where we are at this keep 24/7.
Well, I mean, while we're in the Redshift, we are, but
Well, sure, but I mean, I don't get the sense that we're planning to move a whole contingent of troops up here. Maybe we are. I don't know, but I didn't get that impression. It might be necessary. It might also be necessary to close the gate. Magical gate.
If we can establish that transportation through the gate is safe while the Redshift is active, that's pretty helpful to know. But even if the Redshift isn't active, I think having patrols coming in from Ignis is not a bad sort of thing to plan on. They can deploy out a lot easier than going all the way, across the continent. Across the realm here.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea that they can just walk through a gate and be here.
That said, I think we need to triple our security at Ignis and make sure we have a dedicated escort or two, so any wayward saints who think they can just kind of waltz on over can be escorted to a safe location.
Yeah. That's a fair cop.
Because I gotta say, if that happens again, I'm going to ask the brigadier to get a little bit of a lockdown, or at least get some sort of insurance policy. So if one of them does, come through and do something stupid, I don't know. We don't get punished and maybe get paid out if they die. I don't know.
Or dead.
You might have to simply add a waiver of your right to not get manhandled by our soldiers to the sign up contract.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I think that the Saints' attitude about I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't want to do it, is reflective of a Saint's position in the Holy Cradian Empire. So I don't think that was a one-off. I think that's probably, for those who can afford to do this kind of a trip and this kind of a tour, I think that attitude is probably pretty common amongst the nobles that would do that. Like, those rules don't apply to me.
No.
Oh yeah. No, I think
you saw what a saint acted like.
There's kind of an odd sort of thing in this realm, I suppose, where I come from in most of the regions, most of the time. Part of what makes somebody rise through the ranks of leadership is also their individual prowess. And so for somebody to have that level of ranking among, my family and their dominion, they would be tough. They would be tough like I am.
My guild also believes in meritocracy.
That they would not...
Right, but the Holy Cradian Empire may not. It may be not a meritocracy, but a hierarchy.
You saw what a saint could act like.
They rule on blood. They rule on blood ordained by specific blessings.
Right. So if you have the right blood, you can be a complete ass and endanger the lives of others and not think anything about it because didn't even freaking occur to you. That is what concerns me. And
Did-
because
did you-
I think it's great to get the money rolling in and the support and all that stuff, but I don't want to go through that again where literally that kind of activity was endangering other people's lives and the guy was clueless.
To walk into a dragon's gaping maw
may.
making
Jesus.
demands.
If I
Yeah.
may, that
Go
was
ahead.
why I explained to him in detail what happened here, so that he left properly terrified.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That
No,
is
we made
important.
the right. We dealt with that the correct way, and I likewise I would not like to see that happen often and or again. Though, no, I would question if he endangered anybody here except for himself. The creature or guardian in question didn't seem to care about us so much.
No, I wasn't thinking about that. I was
Yeah, you
thinking,
were.
well, I was thinking more. I mean, it could have triggered something, I suppose. We don't even know what might trigger it. But I was
If
worried
we-
more about the other people. You know,
That
there's
makes sense.
almost a dozen other people at the other gate.
Oh, you mean the
I
other
mean,
tourists?
there's other people, like human beings, that are. Then this guy's like clueless and not giving a shit about anybody but what he wants.
I think
He
I
didn't
was
even-
perhaps a little bit more worried about the fact that his presence caused the creature to come through the gate. That if it hadn't been stopped there and it decided to dive into the earth, that thing's now, it would be a menace. It can pop up anywhere and nobody's going to
Right.
have the Vesh and stuff. It's
No,
going to tear
I have
them
no
apart.
problem with that. It's like I didn't even go that far. You know, I was more concerned about the actual human beings, the sentient beings that were here to contain that gate, this gate, secure the keep, and get the obelisk ready. We had, a job to do.
All the people who were working, like actually who had a job to do, they had the equipment ready. It was only like I actually hear what you're saying now, and I in combination with Nimbus, I worry about the other tourists. They could have followed him.
Oh, sure.
Given if his chevrolet was as skilled as he said it was, right? Perhaps they would have
Right.
run down to the other tourists, and they wouldn't have been.
No, I mean, there's just all kinds of havoc that could have been set in motion. So while I did not enjoy any moment of that particular exercise, I can appreciate the why of it. I didn't like it though, and I made that very clear.
I was most scared of us having to attack one of the guardians.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Like we don't want to go there.
I didn't want to lose our status, so I was glad that we got that dealt with as quickly as we did.
That's also why I told him exterminate is a weird thing. This is more like diplomacy.
I was gonna say earlier as well, Mont, you got that you got that clutch low persuasion roll to terrify instead of impress.
Yeah, I really love how that played out. I like that quite a bit.
I could tell you guys were having fun with that.
Yeah,
It was
that was
great.
good.
Elvis Staffer has been working day one to try to see that kind of shit in action.
I'm glad we made that happen for you.
Once news of that event does disseminate among the commission, there is a lot of grumbling you hear over comms and chatter about how to keep these people in their lane. And your talk of improving the escort security does not go unheard.
Excellent.
There might be need for a few people who are well trained to control these visitors.
Well, I
like
think
the
the other
idea of
part is
Morgan
if there's any part of the contract with a visitor that allows them to go off on their own, that part needs to be crossed out.
Oh, that there is not. No, he wasn't supposed to be there.
So how? I mean, the only way he was allowed to do that is because somebody wasn't paying attention,
He's a
or
saint.
right, somebody bowed to something that they shouldn't have,
Or they were,
caved,
afraid to
or
put a hang
paid
on him
off,
to,
or whatever.
stop him, right?
So it's somewhere in there. That situation needs to be clarified and then empowered. So you have the right to say no to a saint. You have the right to argue, and you have the right to put these bands on them, handcuffs.
Yeah. Yeah, that last part is
And
probably the part that needs to be added.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you will not get fired from your job, not by me and not by my people, if you do this, if you have to go there. We understand that the safety of you and your people and this place is paramount. And we can't allow some saint from the Holy Acadian Empire to run amok.
I wonder if
So-
I can pull some strings, write a letter to request that favor from the guild as well. They would also be concerned with things like that, but they also have growing interests in the area, so perhaps an immunity while the Redshift lasts would be something they could pay for.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it raises some interesting questions and sets some things perhaps in motion for, okay, we found a hole, we need to plug it. Here's another possible hole. Here's another possible hole. So those can all be set in motion at this point by people whose heads are wired for that and not us. But I look at things like securing the transportation circle here and the other side of it, and making sure that everybody is safe. I'm really curious how this obelisk kind of interacts with the other one. Keep Silex, it's like, how do they kind of like...
Yeah, is there a doubling effect or
Right. Is there like a doubling effect, or is it does this one's effect stop at the gate? As soon as you go through the gate, then you enter at the keep, and then its obelisk goes into effect.
Oh yes, that'll be seen. Although this is about a 3-hour hike up from the keep proper. This is a new obelisk right on the other side.
It keeps
Is it-
Silex?
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
cave,
okay.
Yeah, it's where
Okay, I didn't know that.
where we came through on the other side. That's
Right.
The worker, as we had first known him. That's where we had discovered him.
I was
up
not
on
here for that.
Yeah.
I was out that night.
Yeah.
That was a distant session of 2
Very
other
long
players.
distance session, but I was out that night. So I
But
think
no,
it's very
this
cool,
is
Serb,
this
that
is
you brought that
where
back, by the way.
He was waiting for us the whole time.
Well, not consciously, but yeah.
During your week here, is anybody else going to go upstairs?
Yeah, I'll eventually go up. I need to patch the roof.
I think we'll
Even
probably all
light.
go up it eventually.
I suppose the areas
safe.
that are a little bit more shabby and not safe, I would either think about bringing up some dirt and wood from below to support them, or otherwise just kind of get some help marking them off as don't stand here right now spots.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be
that
things
seems
that I can
fair.
do, like wild shape, and climb up there as a small critter,
Well, I can just
Yeah.
make like stairs.
and it's like what will take some weight, what will not take some weight.
Totally.
I think you can all move yourself through the walls of that box north of you, so feel free to just move your tokens up there. If you can't move through, then just say so.
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right, that works. So I'm not going to call for any rolls in there because
Oh, is this our
competent
decrepit
enough to
room?
avoid- Up here, yeah. It's
Okay.
basically the light gray spots are the spot where the floor is intact. And then the southern section is above the yard.
Okay.
If I see you guys going for this and like, oh, we're gonna go upstairs and check this out, of course I'm going with you.
Anybody who wants to can roll a DC 12 investigation check if you're poking around looking for stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of hoping to find more, Veshan emblems and things of that nature.
Ooh,
Gotta
Nice.
investigate the area before
Yeah,
I can
apparently
pick up
our-
the area.
Apparently, our
Advantage roll.
downtime makes us very inquisitive.
Yeah, though I don't know why I had advantage on. So
Yeah, and Nimbus rolled a wisdom check.
I didn't, but I rolled 19. But,
Oh, it's because I'm having Badath check and he doesn't have investigation.
Oh, okay. Well, it's intelligence anyway, but
Oh, well then that would be even
I
worse.
can't believe I rolled a 19 out of a 20. Wow.
dude, me
Nice.
too. Naya, me too.
nice.
That's the thing. We're all bored because we've been sitting on our ass for
Right.
a week.
So we're
Like,
bored and
look up here
inquisitive.
and we're
Yes.
like, yo, I see that. Look, there's a crack in the wall right there by the window. Right, that crack. What does it mean?
Yeah.
But it's elementary, my dear children. You didn't notice this thing right here, which clearly states. Me with my 24.
But wait.
Right.
Somebody put a smudge on the window over here in the lower left crack. There's a smudge right here.
Of course, you noticed the smudge first, but did you notice that the glass was also dripping? That means that it took time, and the smudge would have been an inch above where you pointed out.
Ah, Sherlock. But did you
I
notice?
may smack
You
him
notice that
again.
they left the upper window open, which means that this just happened because of the recent rains.
So Naya, while they're
Yeah.
memeing around,
What?
you there's not a whole lot up here.
Yeah, I see that.
It is whatever furniture, even the stairs. You might recall thinking back to the past that, oh yeah, those stairs were mostly wooden. They have decayed away. But there are like spots where the proper roof has collapsed in. There are occasional piles of rubble here and there. And just poking around, you think you see something interesting in one of them, and you do indeed find the only thing really of note up here is what you guess must have been a bust of a person, a stone bust. However, the head of the bust has at some point become all tentacles and an eyeball in the center.
Oh, wow.
The chest part is normal.
Hey, Nimbus,
What's up?
can you do a detect magic on this thing?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have it prepared.
Give me a moment. I guess I'll cast it and then climb on up.
Yeah, the bust is not magical. But it does have a very unusually knotted scarf,
Yeah.
of all things.
Is there anything else that I see that might be magical while I'm up there, or not really?
No.
Okay. Well, good luck up there, everybody. I'm gonna keep moving dirt to fill in spaces. I would probably have been starting to usher some of that dirt from downstairs up into some sort of like a staircase like structure or ramp or something to replace the busted staircase.
Yeah, that's workable.
Okay, so what we know of the history of this keep. What's the name of this place?
Well,
we
you
have a
weren't
name?
given a specific name, but the lord of the house was named Kita.
Was what?
Kita.
Kita's keep.
Oh yeah, Kita.
You can roll a 13 history check to determine if you picked up anything more specific than that while you were here?
Yeah, fail.
Anybody else can make that check too if you want to.
Huh? What you got there? That's an interesting bust.
Mott, you were paying attention.
Wow, the fact that I failed that with a +4 is pretty ridiculous.
You're pretty sure that somebody said while you were here that the Akita, the man of the house, was a retired knight.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, that's what I thought, but it certainly
Yeah.
suggests that somebody who lived here was a devotee of what we saw owning the tower.
It was,
Because this sure looks like the tower.
if I remember correctly, Sir Kita had either an infirmary or like a sort of, what's it called? A place where people could go in need. Safe
he was
house.
housing several people that Holtzman and Gokari had evacuated from Vess and
I
from
see.
the very nearby village called Culbrook, which, as far as you can tell, looking south, no longer exists.
I get the feeling he and Sir Kita were friends to just be like, "Hey, Lord Elf Guy, I'm gonna make a magic portal in your basement."
Well,
Like,
it was nighttime when they were here, and Holtzman explained to you that the people that they had evacuated could not pass it without supplies, and you know, a lot of them were older or young. They surely could not continue just running day after day, which was why he was trying to create that gate,
I see.
a quicker escape.
Right. So, did we get any sort of impression of what the place was before it was being used for evacuation as a I guess a temporary lodging?
Well,
They took over his they basically took over his dining hall. There was like the long table shoved up against the wall, and you know, chairs all scattered to the side so people could put out blankets and stuff to rest on.
Okay.
And wasn't it Arissa who told us that this place existed and we should go here because this was a night of Vess?
I think Eska told you about this
Eska?
one.
Okay. But it's like,
yeah,
back in the day, this was a safe place to be, but somebody who lived here turned.
It was a place where the kings and queens would occasionally stop by if they were traveling more than a day outside of the...
Right. It would be a highly regarded safe place.
You know, like a spot with a guest room kept by one of the royal knights.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But this bust in this form suggests that there was a devotee living here or staying here, and that this form of whatever it is at the tower has existed before the Redshift. What we don't know is for how long. We thought all this kind of was I don't know, at least I thought that it was maybe some kind of one-shot wonder event, that things changed and transformed and created the Redshift and created the monstrosity. This suggests that that is wrong. And what was happening was actually before, you know, maybe a while before the Redshift, when this place was still considered safe.
The statue could just be shifted.
The what?
The
Yeah,
statue, the
it's
bust
statue.
could just be shifted.
I assume that's the case, honestly.
I guess I didn't consider that for the main reason that mostly we do not see inanimate objects shifted. We see animate or sentient objects
Yeah,
shifted.
living things that
But
have
we
A
have
bus
seen
would have been
inanimate
something
stuff
carved.
that has been shifted before. You guys saw that house that was inverted on itself. There was the glass wall in Jose.
fair enough.
Place where
Actually, the
Batman,
house is a good example, but
the place where Batman
why
died.
the house and not other structures that we've seen?
I think
We
it
have
just
seen
depends on
other shifted structures.
where what other realms influenced the shifting at the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I'm guessing. I'm not a mage. I don't know, but it
Consistently,
seems like
the effects are less virulent the less sentient you get, but never the chance is never zero.
Larissa's tower, totally shifted.
Right.
Was it the
Yeah.
tower that was shifted or just the beings in it?
The
No,
whole
no,
tower
tower-
was a
tower
spaghetti
melted.
noodle.
Yeah.
Holographic.
It was common belief before a couple of years ago or so, that any humanoid who entered the Redshift storm would be instantly destroyed. And it was believed that sentience was the main contributing factor.
Right.
You have at this time deduced slightly otherwise, but the fact that non-intelligent creatures as well as non-sentient things can be shifted has always been true.
Okay.
Do you vibe?
Not really, but okay.
Good question.
It's the Redshift.
Montlarin is on a completely different frequency than all of you, after all.
Right.
All right, let's get some of these holes patched up.
Yeah, you'll do what you can during this redshift.
I'm clear cutting the entire area that I can.
And you'll fortify it enough to make it, not like a total hazard anymore. I doubt you'll have enough material to be able to actually plug all the holes up, but at the very least, there shouldn't be any big bricks falling on heads.
Love that.
Which was certainly a
Possibility.
present danger when you got here.
So, Alvis, I would suggest that we use the branches and canopy to plug the holes. That way we can just use the trunks as supports inside the building.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. I used most of the branches up already for the ditch that I made.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I actually showed an image in the chat for you guys, minus the giant trees being used for it. But yeah, absolutely. We can use the logs and the canopy to plug up the holes.
At least to create some amount of roof space, even if
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
small,
Try to make things dry.
Great. So that'll take you can work on that throughout the week, and
Hell, if
eventually
Nimbus makes water, we can waddle and daub, and then now we have a muddy roof.
eventually, the storm finally does reach the Silex area. And you'll receive a call on the obelisk from Captain Vidar, although you might hear a little bit of an echo if your ears are particularly sharp. And she'll call out to Dex and say, "Hey, it's here. So you wanted to test out this gate while the Redshift was on, right?" He says, "Yep. Okay. I want to do this myself. So gather up around the gate if you want to. It might actually be a good idea.
We're not gonna like throw a rock through first, or
I heard that you might get eviscerated.
I said
Just,
we're
like,
not gonna like
throw a rock through or a
first,
coin or something.
Well,
I have a canary. Do you guys want me to put the canary through?
he says that's all a very good idea, and maybe we should well do it. But as we were discussing the other day, it is only we humanoids who have some intent to take down this phenomenon who are affected each and every time we enter the storm. Now,
True.
my worry here is that I don't know exactly how this gate works. And while it appears to us to simply be a doorway into another space, it could be that the physics of this gate actually move you through the space between these two locations. If that is what is happening, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that you could, in some manner, come into contact with the Redshift while taking the trip. And that is why I've forbidden anyone from entering so far. So,
You can't go through.
well, you can't go through, because what if something does happen?
Yeah, I'm in agreement that you can't go through either.
Why can't I go through? I'm the most expendable amongst us.
No.
Let's start with something inanimate
Okay, well, yeah.
and make sure it arrives.
We can do proper science, he says, and start with something inanimate. Would you like to do the honors, Naya, and toss through a pebble or a twig?
Sure.
Okay.
Incoming.
Or
And she tosses through whatever.
Okay. Vidar will catch the twig on the other side. She'll say, looks like a twig. I don't see anything weird about it.
all right. What about
I've got something, honestly. Here's a proof for you, Dex. Take it or leave it, but we're talking about distance here, right?
Sure.
So hypothetically, if I cast a spell that has a limited distance, it wouldn't be able to affect the other side. So if I tried to, say, shape water and push the water using shape water through to the other side and remain in control of it, if I lose control when it gets to the other side, that means it's going beyond the gate, right? Or it's going directly through.
That is a fair tertiary test. Listen, the reason I feel like we need to do this now in a safe and controlled environment is because what if something terrible does happen, and what if we get invaded at one of these points, and what if we do need to make a retreat? If
teleportation
these gates
circle.
Are not sure, but if these gates are not usable safely during the Redshift, then we need to know
Right.
that for sure before something
Yeah.
bad happens and there's a panic. We're not in a panic right now. We have, as far as I can tell, safe and sound. So there's really no better time to make absolutely certain that humanoids can travel through this, members of our commission can travel through this gate during the Redshift in case it ever needs to happen.
You know, now I kind of wish that Saint was around so he could make history.
Right? See, he would have been perfect for us to use. I'm glad that he might be a good investor or his daddy, but
Not you, Mont. No. We listen.
Oh, I'm not stepping through. I'm just
Good.
examining the interface. Yeah.
I can put the small canary on this here crowbar.
Yes, that's a good. Let's try that as a secondary test, Alvis Taver.
Well, it's a living thing, so yeah.
I
Exactly.
figured out I'm terrible for the science, so I'm not gonna fuck with the experiment.
Okay. Go ahead and stick her through the gate on the cage.
Can I roll a sleight of hand to try to get Mont's attention?
Sure.
I don't want to get Decus's attention, but I kind of want him to.
Say,
I
we
want to get.
improvements.
I want to get Mont's attention and try to like gesture for him to push me in, because Decus can't come in. Decus is important.
Well, I'll roll. I don't. Can Dex? Let me see if Dex has a high enough perception to even see that. I did not think I was going to have him roll dice today. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, be careful, Mont! Don't.
He has a +1, so he cannot notice you.
Oh, be careful, Mont! Back up a little bit, and then I make my hand gesture as if like, oh, push me in, right? But I'm gonna push the bird in, as if like I don't want to get my hands in.
All right, I will step back and feign tripping and pushing Alvis through the portal.
Okay, Alvis.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I just want to know if I saw that.
I
I was standing there watching you guys. Do I have?
Yeah, I was gonna say you had pretty good line of sight there.
You can. He was trying to hide it from everybody, but Mont. So you could roll perception for it. I think it was too quick for you to notice. Montmar was kind of in the way.
I guess. Okay. I think I'm still sus.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering what happened, because for somebody so sure-footed to slip like that,
Exactly,
I'm sorry.
right?
I'm starting to look around like, did we just get attacked by a ghost?
Yeah. Homie's pretty agile, right? That's a really weird fucking.
Already got
It's
one
really
hand on
heavy
the
armor,
pouches
you know how
ready.
it is.
Okay, Albus, you fall through the portal. You
Oh no,
feel
Albus.
the
Oh heck! Someone should
magic around you.
I'm like, please, I just wanted to do the good thing. I have my eyes closed. Still holding out the bird and the crowbar.
Dex says, "No!" Are you okay?
Am I okay? My eyes are still closed and I'm holding out the bird and I'm just like,
Dex right next to him.
Hey, Elvis, this is important. I gotta ask. Do you feel like you're yourself, or do you feel like you're a replica of yourself?
That's an interesting question. What things might I want to look out for?
Oh, I don't know. It's just I've always wanted to ask somebody about
that.
that.
A dick move.
Oh, indeed.
Dex will pick you up by the waist and set you upright. Not Lauren. And,
thank you.
Yes, very, very, very clever of you. Well, it looks like.
I think the hinge on my knee locked for a moment.
Yes. It looks like my fears were thankfully unfounded.
Alistair will let out a really noticeable sigh and be like, I don't usually do the quote-unquote good thing. But, Decus, you are the foremost expert in the Redshift. I am just your mercenary.
I was just going to stick my foot into it.
That's a much better.
You know, maybe this is why you're a teacher and I'm only a student.
That's why he's mission critical and we're not. See.
Well, now at least we don't have to kill you after you've turned into a monster, right, Captain?
Right. I'm not the captain, but I agree.
Can Decus?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you do me a favor, please?
What is it?
Would you not tell Lucent I just did that?
I was going to say, if you had had anything happen, Lucent would have had his hide, not yours, because you'd be dead.
I think you're going to have to probably win a few favors from everybody else who saw that stunt, but sure.
Okay, you're the most unsure I was. The others I can do stuff for. I'm around them a lot.
Fair enough. Well, I think that concludes the test. The gate seems to be safe as long as both obelisks are online, and as long as we don't see any miasma on the other side, we should be able to go through safely. So if anything bad happens, then consider using this as an evacuation route, and consider shutting it down if you ever need to.
Yeah. Likewise, if it's possible, we should cover the interface with like a curtain or a tarp.
Yeah.
It's not in use.
Maybe a tastefully commissioned tapestry of us, the aces.
You know, a fence might be better because we'd want to be able to see through the other side, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's a fair point. What I was thinking though is I wanted to block line of sight for any guardians that appeared on the other side.
We'll flank it with more flags on both sides.
Yeah, good. That's smart.
Oh, this is very exciting though. You don't usually see something like this. Just a stable, accessible gate. Open permanently. Able to walk 300 miles in a step. Very nice work, Holtzman.
Yep.
Been that way for 1,000 years, right?
Yeah, almost, something like that.
It was closed until you all repaired it.
That's fair. I just mean that's a long time for any enchantment to last, especially under these conditions.
The symbology was all still here. And it would seem impossible to open from one side if the other side is the one it's closed from. That's why he couldn't do it.
Couldn't remotely restore the ruin.
That's why he was working on that wall for so long. He was trying to pull it back up. Well, if you do end up resurrecting him, not that I necessarily condone that, perhaps you'll have to tell him his plan was very successful. Officially speaking, the word is still out on what the plan for that situation is.
Yeah, in the end, it would be up to him no matter what. It's not like we could.
I wouldn't hate to get to talk to him.
Really, what I wonder is like, did this portal? Did he intend to do this before as some kind of whim? Is he like just some well-prepared mastermind, sort of like Sharp, and he prepared a set of runes to a cavern hundreds of miles away just on some sheer whim, or does the spell copy the known coordinates from this location and the location, and thus did he already know the ley lines and the coordinates for both locations? There's a lot of
You-
questions that are brought up here.
There's something
You-
that I kind of think of when I think about the arcane and the most notable names in Magic is that there are people who, due to whatever affinities or research or what have you, are beyond just a spell caster. They're a spell crafter. That they have the ability to actually formulate a new spell that never existed before. And I get the feeling that Holtzman was one such visionary. I could eventually do that with enough research, but it'd probably only be a level 1 spell at best.
For reference, you were, while he was talking to you for that hour or so that you interviewed him, he was doing he was running equations, math, and arcana. Even some of it is still the bits and pieces, scratch notes, still, scratched with a knife into these floors and walls here.
Yeah, Decus. Know me, I'm no expert. I'm just a complete hack. Right? It's a complete hack. You and Nimbus are still 100 times more impressive than I am. But I think he had to calculate the location of the other side. Likewise, if you noticed, they're mirrored. Each of the runes on one side on the other.
Yes, if we could. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I would like to stay here and research this for a time, because if this is something that could be replicated, the ability to form permanent gates, potentially anywhere in the world could.
It took him less than a year. It took him the moments of a, tragedy in midst panic.
Indeed.
That's revolutionary. That changes the world.
Well, let's hold on to these two forts, shall we? We'll have plenty of time to take notes on all of these things and try them again somewhere else. As long as we don't lose access to these places.
If I'm not mistaken, he was a master of divination.
That is correct, yeah. He spoke to you about portents.
Yes. So divination was probably how he was able to get the guidance. He was just able to kind of see the location with one of his various spells and target it. But the spell itself, like if he poured all of his magic into an arcane gate, and with efficient ritual and materials and systems to be able to extend it both in duration and distance far, far beyond what the spell is originally intended for.
And don't forget, he had been spending about 12 hours a day every day hanging out with the secretary for about 4 months.
Yeah, so I mean, he's doing top level research and an incredibly powerful spellcaster on top of that. I suppose all of his working with the secretary and making the workings of certain systems and tools to perform the task that they did with the machine, that probably required a lot of invention. All that work to make this happen. Probably would have been easier for them to just wish a new kid if they couldn't make a new one. Oh well. Such is the tragedy that has at this point brought us here. So that is interesting, though. I definitely like the idea that you can use this as a point of research. I would recommend that some of our tougher guards kind of come help you here as guards, because we wouldn't want you to be relatively alone out here on this side should the purple things decide that the banners are too beat up.
You have noticed over the span of the week that the Arachnoid Guardians, after the obelisk was put together, have not once in the week of Redshift appeared inside the effective range of the obelisk, only outside of it. Now, they have occasionally wandered a little bit closer and come inside the range, but they have never appeared from within it, and certainly not from within the house itself.
I see.
Their apparent behavior or appearance hasn't changed since the Redshift started, has it?
No. No, they melt out of the ground, look around a little bit, look at the symbology you've put up everywhere, and then meander off till a few minutes later they melt back into the ground. You can roll insight with a 15 Montlar if you like.
I'd be following him around.
Watching them for long enough, Mont. And Alvis, you can. I think your contribution to this would perhaps be that you've got your spyglass, right?
Yeah, sure.
But Mont, to the sort of idea comes to you that there must be some means for them to sense the fact that you are here, that there are people in this location. Because looking out onto the horizon and looking out further and further all around you, they don't appear at random out in the countryside. Like you can't find a single one wandering off like miles away in the distance. They're appearing near you, and you almost feel as though they are looking for you, but your trick has caused some selective blindness, perhaps.
Yeah, interesting. And you reminded me when you said that they detected the saint before he actually crossed the threshold too. So they, in theory, could only have seen him through the portal if they saw him at all, right?
You only heard his shout through the portal, so you don't know when that thing appeared on the other. Well, your friends on the other side would tell you it wandered through around when he arrived, but they're not sure if the saint was visible through the portal or not at that point. But it definitely sounds like the guardian appeared on your side and then went through.
Got it.
Yeah, that's bad.
Feels like it's visual, but I wonder if they also have like a tremor sense or a life sense or something like that.
Perhaps it's more simple than that. So the tower spots, the tower summons, or is able to summon within a given, range, sight, probably. Like line of sight makes sense. And then the units move as would maybe Keenwood back when we still had that kind of connection.
That implies to me that whatever animating force animates them is either not particularly smart or maybe not directly connected to the redshift.
Well, if it's programmed, it's an old program. I mean, it's 1,000 years old. Good code, but
We didn't see
old.
them in the past, so I feel like they're probably a redshift effect, or perhaps a spell cast in response to it that didn't work. But like they didn't appear here when we defended this keep in the past. You know what I mean?
Maybe stupid is the wrong word. It's certainly simple.
Well, yeah, I mean unclever,
Unclever is a good word.
unsentient. Do you know what I mean?
Is such a
Unsophisticated, maybe.
Even.
Really?
Even.
I kind of think of perhaps some of the creatures I've seen in manuals about mechanists, that they're a very simplified design, and they're some of the tiniest and most awkward looking ones that very much just kind of fill one or two tasks, but
We're still talking about the guardians here, not the person utilizing them.
right.
What I mean is, if all it can do is signal for them to investigate and not accept that their resulting action was good or bad, it means it doesn't have that level of discrimination, right?
I see that, but perhaps it's not discrimination and it's rather capability. If the redshift can only bend things while the redshift, let's say, is active, then the best it could do would be a line of sight summon, I suppose.
Right.
Maybe it is kind of dumb, actually.
What I mean is, you or I, in that same position, after having noticed the first request to investigate didn't result in action, would have done something else, right?
Unless it didn't worry me.
Unless it didn't worry you. Well, that implies a level of either lack of awareness or stupidity in and of itself, doesn't it?
Well, or knowledge, just not enough info. Because sometimes it's not a matter of naivete as it is legit ignorance where I do not know.
Well,
I do not know to be afraid. I do not know to be concerned.
I'm being a little bit biased in my playing devil's advocate. If I think it's the tower, let's say, casting a summon via line of sight or whatnot, then the assumption I'm playing on is that perhaps it is the proxy or the redshift entity, as we've been calling it, or whatnot. I feel maybe the argument is less stupidity and more insanity. Like it wants to still believe its empire is back. It's been trying to make that happen. Perhaps we've had these conversations, but I guess this is more speculation. It is definitely a lack of insight. I'm not going to argue.
Well, the redshift knows us, right?
In a sense,
That's why it struck down our allies, right?
Yeah, it has observed us for some time.
Yeah, we've investigated this enough to know it has some amount of sentience
and a certain malice for us.
Well, it's a bad thing. Yes,
right.
I don't know about them. Probably.
If it realizes that we are who we are, then it would not just let the Guardian's decision to leave us alone stand if it could do anything about it.
I'm assuming maybe, and this is a lot of assumptions on my part. That's spell limitation or insanity. You are of the Veshan Empire. These creatures that I use this spell for won't attack.
Right, like it's just a weakness in the system. But wouldn't you stop sending them after a while?
Not if the spell was on a grand enough scale that it was kind of automatic. I don't know what this entity
actually-
operates on, but if I was paying attention to other things, I would
When
kind
I-
of create orders that just happened, and those can kind of be dumb.
When I say unclever, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I don't think whatever controls the Guardians is paying attention if it's not simply a set of rules.
Oh, I can absolutely leave. Oh, okay, yeah, no, absolutely.
Which may work in our favor. We may find that the tower is not as directed as we expected it to be. On the other hand, it may also be that it's literally just run by some other entity and is completely unrelated.
I can tell you that when I scried and I got my ass handed to me, it was definitely not passive. It's definitely aware. And there was a examination type of, or investigation type of nonverbal activity that occurred.
You almost
Where
went there.
You didn't
Yeah.
tell me.
And there's a sense that it knew me, my history, my mind, my soul, everything. And through me, it knew you. I mean, at some point, things stopped it, or it broke it. The connection was broken. But it's like a really dangerous. I became a gateway to more knowledge, and that was very, very dangerous for us.
Yes, your spell was broken when you got a bloody nose from the mirror.
Right.
I mean,
So this is not. I mean, I'm guessing there are tons of elements of programming in these various kinds of constructs that we've seen, and so they just do what they're programmed to do, no more, no less. It's if-when statements, if this happens, do this. When this happens, do this. That's all. And in that sense, it's dumb protocols, just one rule after another of getting stuff done. But the awareness or the presence at the tower itself, that is not dumb.
There is one thought that I've kind of had this whole time is perhaps it is not actually the tower, but if that captain of the guard still remains, that it is in fact the one that is in control of these.
Interesting. Yeah. And I mean, if I was, trying to delegate, tasks, I'd just let that happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm very curious to see what happens to these Guardians if we resolve the Redshift.
They might not let us try. Then we might have to destroy them in full, which I'm not sure how we do. That's something that I've been wondering about, is if we have to trap and contain them and bring them to some sort of killing field to finish them off. Like, I don't know, Decus, you've probably heard of this one. Containing something in a wall of force and then bathing it in sickening radiance.
Sure. Well, you haven't killed one of them yet, have you?
No.
I think we wounded one and it escaped.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying about, I don't know if they actually will die so easily, so much as melt down and return to the ground and come back recongealed anew, and that it is itself more a living material that's being guided rather than entities unto themselves.
Might be interesting to try it out on purpose, take off the tabards and have at it. when the redshift clears up, but well, that's a bit putting your neck out there for no reason.
Well, now that we know what they're about, it's nothing we can't handle.
True.
Well, they may have a couple of surprises, but yeah, they were tough, as I recall. But as guardians, they're designed to be.
I think
There's no alternative if we can't indeed find a way to shut them down. Then
maybe what we need to be thinking about is using scrying to track one of them and see where they actually go and what they actually do. I'm not sure how well that'll work, but perhaps there's a sort of post or relay that they check in with before they come back up.
aha, interesting thought. Do you have your scrying orb with you?
I'm
all looking in my.
I actually,
I'm like, do I have it readied? I don't think I have it readied. I'm sorry, man.
I left mine back
Mine
home.
is always ready, but I am not inclined to do that again.
Well, we're not asking you to scry on the tower.
Not
We're
ready.
asking you to perhaps scry on one of the sentries to see what sort of information. I don't think the sentries and their system is going to attempt to pry into your mind. But if it looks like you got a bloody nose or something and you're not snapping out of it, we'll slap you or shake you awake or something.
I don't have it readied at all. So.
Well, if you don't have your orb, then we can send for it. Or if you get back to All Saints.
We have 2 orbs among us. Who had the other one? I thought I had it.
Remember.
I probably had one, but I don't have the spell ready.
I have it prepared as it's a druid spell, circle spell. A focus worth at least 1,000 gold pieces. Is that bracelet worth more than 1,000? I thought it was because it has so many diamonds.
I think your bracelet was worth less than that, but also you need the only material you have that works for scrying are those 2 dragon eye orbs.
So here's what I will say on the subject.
I have one that says I have a thing that says 0.5 pound clairvoyance eye. Is that one of those?
No, that is specifically for the spell clairvoyance. It's for scrying.
Here's what I would say on the subject. Considering Naya always has it at the ready, I would have given it to her if she wanted to carry the Dragon Eye orb. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had any reason to bring it because I wasn't planning to use it here. So if it's at your discretion, Serb, and if you wanted to, Naya, perhaps we could say that she's the one that's in possession of it, and that's why I didn't bring it because she has it.
Well, I have no issue, obviously, with Naya putting that in her inventory. But yeah, if you didn't bring it with you, then they'd both probably still be at All Saints by now.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me, but if Naya didn't have one of them, I would have most definitely passed it along to her at some point because I thought she had the other one.
So where would I focus worth at least 1,000 gold pieces? So is this something worth more than money? This is something else that's not described here?
It has to be. I thought it was in the. Is it not in the description for what kind of focus it is?
Well, I'm reading here.
Such as a crystal ball, silver mirror, or font filled with holy water. Essentially, it has to be something reflective.
Yeah, that was what the Dragon Eye orbs were for, if I'm not mistaken. So
when you killed Omnithivus and salvaged some of his body parts, you were able to petrify his eyes, and they are pristine enough that they can be used for the scrying spell.
Are they one use items, objects?
No, the scrying focus is not consumed.
Okay.
So
That's
Yeah,
why
I'm not
that's
actually
why the
seeing a
prince had a big
description.
ass mirror in his room. He was able to just use that huge mirror whenever he
Right,
wanted.
but we broke it, right? Or we cracked it.
You cracked it a little bit with your snout, but it's probably still usable. You didn't
Okay.
try that.
I'm not actually seeing a description here. Unless it just went off the page, you know.
The description of scrying.
No, the description of the focus. I'm not seeing anything. I'm reading the spell.
Yeah, click the spell. It'll give you the full thing. There you go.
Oh, that is. It went off the page. Okay.
Yeah. To answer Montlauren's question, Dex says, I would be interested to see if you could move shifting between something and nothing. Our understanding so far is that it has to go into something, but
Well, I was thinking the something would be the redshift itself, right? The barrier gives me a unique opportunity to be able to plunge it literally into the redshift without, actually touching the redshift was my thought.
that is true. Now, what is your plan for if your sword comes alive during?
I'm probably gonna not keep a hold of it and let it be out there.
And what if it wraps around your arm?
Well, I am wearing armor. I can unbuckle it and hopefully slip out. Failing that, Alvis could probably help me deal with the problem.
Van would like this experiment.
yeah, sure. I ain't got a problem with that.
If you did this, then it might give us the means to cure other people, even.
Right.
Roll an 18 persuasion, please. If you
Right.
want, like, explicit approval from your boss.
I do want explicit approval. I mean, I might act anyway. I have in the past, but I do want to try to do things the right way.
Wait, hold on. Remind me again. You're saying you want to put your sword outside the barrier?
Right. So I want to push the blade through the barrier so that it is in contact with the redshift directly. Then I want to convince the redshift that is in the blade to return to the overall storm where it belongs.
Isn't that just nerfing your blade, though?
That's a really big risk of absolutely nerfing your blade.
My blade does not get any special bonuses for being imbued with the redshift. It does have a narrative hook, but
Okay.
that's
I thought it
something
did.
for the DM to worry about. It's not a mechanic. Right.
Well, this is the narrative hook right here.
Right.
Yeah, hit that persuasion button.
All right. Here we go.
He should definitely do it. I should try to help him out.
No advantage.
Damn.
All right. Okay, but a 21 will work, right?
Yeah. Dex says, I can't deny the use of this, and well, all right, but here's how we're going to do this. You are going to stand. You're a tall elf, so this should be easy for you.
We prefer the term willowy, but yes.
That's a good word. As physically far away from that as you possibly can. And I am going to wrap one of these fingers around your waist.
So is he gonna be lying prone on the ground, outstretched?
No, I want you to be standing up so that I can pull you away from the edge should I need to.
Right. Okay. All right.
And
Alvis, this is my dragon bone dagger.
Oh, hey. Oh, you're just going to flash that right here?
It burns.
Wow.
So if I can't separate the sword from, say, my hand, I would prefer that somebody involved uses something that cauterizes wounds.
Oh yeah, I got one of those too. I can do that.
Okay.
you are making me less and less eager about this as you speak, my
Oh
friend.
man, it's a safety mechanism.
I'm just covering our bases.
All right. Well, as always, you're tricking me into doing stupid things once again.
There's a lesson here, Dex.
No progress without life-shattering stupidity. Agreed.
How do you like the fortifications, Dex?
Well done.
Keen's new legs are really a masterwork. You gotta tell Smitty he outdid himself.
Don't think me a stick in the mud like these many sticks, though. I did have to, walk into the obelisk field while the Redshift was on the very first time to prove that it worked.
Oh,
So it's not like I've never done anything like this before, but the more you talk about this thing knowing you, the less.
I feel that.
Well, yeah, you get the idea.
if it makes you feel better, Decus, I too have been through tests like this. Not just here at the Redshift, but there was a period of time where Vim was testing me, he liked to say, by letting me test blacksmith's plate mail. See, he would put me inside the plate mail, and then he would set up a crossbow at 25 feet or so.
That's horrifying.
That is horrifying. Also, are you of all people stalling Elvis Diver?
Oh no, I'm not stalling. I'm saying that I've also done, scientific tests like this.
Well, yes,
Are
I'll
we
need you to
ready?
stand back. Stay behind him, Alvis Taver, a few feet. You're quick, so if you can get to him, you can. Or if you're
Yeah.
you can.
I was gonna try to get Keen to, bite up on his belt. Oh wait,
No, I don't want anybody else but my big hand touching him, just in case.
We
What
don't
if
want
he
anything
gets
to
pulled
spread. Right.
Oh yeah. Oh, here though. I got an acuity with the mage hand.
All right, well, it might help a little bit.
I'll grip up on his belt.
It's like when you give the kid you're babysitting a controller that's not plugged in.
That's funny that you say a kid you're babysitting. I'm like, you think I didn't do that with my own children? That was a pro strat, man. Nah, kid, sit next to me. Here's your controller. I'm gonna play a game.
All right, he says you've got about a minute, and the big finger wraps around your waist, just ready to tug. So when you plunge this device into the storm, you'll have to, as usual, in order to enforce your will and remove the Redshift from Mizia back into the storm whence it came, you'll have to make a 22 persuasion.
Naya, where'd you go?
Okay. She's down here with me.
I'm down here with Decus and Malaran and yeah.
Give him guidance.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, who can? I can't. Naya can.
Oh, I can.
Fuck, you're the cleric.
Oh shit, I totally can.
He's
I'm
a
a
bard.
cleric, man. I'm a bard. I'm gonna play a song.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? You're a cleric and you're fucking a bard. You need to pretend to have bardic
I
inspiration.
was distracted. Give me a break.
Thank you.
All right, so that is a touch spell, but you can, tap him on the shoulder and
There,
the butt,
okay.
and then walk away.
Yeah.
Fine.
Good luck. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So guidance on Lauren.
Only one guidance. So you can add a D4.
A little tap on the ass. That's what Verde says.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't
I mean, I'm gonna roll the d4 for posterity anyway, but
Okay.
You got this. Tap. Your little
Damn.
pointed ears kind of quiver.
right
Now-
exactly.
Do you want the sword to become mundane?
So yeah. Well, okay. What I want is the sword to be a perfect conduit for conducting the Redshift.
Out
That's actually
away into
right.
the
That's
storm.
the
right?
point of the experiment. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. You focus. You stare into the miasma. Nothing happens.
The blade at least is not like warping or anything, right?
The blade remains as it is in your hand.
Interesting.
You feel the twitch at your belt from the big hand.
Okay. Well, if there has been no visible reaction in the blade, nothing that I have felt, then I would take the blade back through the barrier to inspect it visually.
It looks exactly the same as it was.
Okay. In that case, I will turn to Decus and make a shrugging gesture. I don't think it did anything.
I would take that as a good sign.
Yeah, but a sign of
Um,
what?
Well, that you didn't make it angry or anything, and you didn't curse yourself. But
Didn't bring in more redshift, exactly.
right. But that does put a damper on the hope of sending it back out into space, right?
Yeah, we're still stuck with the need of a receptacle if that's going to do anything useful.
At least we know it works on non-sentient living things, like a plant, a tree.
True. Well, I appreciate you indulging me, Decus. I know that was potentially dangerous.
Brave and stupid out here, right? That's what we do.
That is what we do.
My colleagues all said I was going to die within a week. So I guess you and I are not so different.
Did you make any bets? Did you win any money?
Oh, a little bit, yes.
Well done. Well done.
I'll have to collect next time I'm back home.
I do have one more experiment if you wanna watch. I don't actually have to be near it or anything.
Oh, now what are you doing?
Alvistaver looks towards the storm and directing all of his focused attention to it, he says at it, "Yo, Redshift, if you can hear me, the storm looks quite nice today." And then I look over to Decus and I nod. I'm like, I'm done. We're being diplomatic, right?
Let's see.
Maybe you can ask it to open a pathway for you next, but I didn't hear anything, did you? Did you get anything in that head of yours?
I don't know. I wasn't interacting with the actual Redshift. Like I don't know how I would want it to respond to me. Gotta be honest.
Maybe Van would have better luck with that one. I think he's tried the same a couple of times, though.
Just talking to it?
Here and there, I've caught him, around the periphery, whispering odd things.
I
I
wonder.
wonder if. Yeah.
No, I'm just like, now I kind of want to, oh, I've done
He's
something.
having a conversation. Like,
I want to send a message to the Redshift.
dial 1-800-REDSHIFT.
Yeah, I'm not so sure you want to do that.
I'm asking Serb if this works.
This time, your head is filled with the sound of feedback for 6 seconds.
What do you mean this
Okay.
time?
It's like a crazy horse performance.
Now that you're trying to use this cantrip.
My head is filled with feedback?
Yes. Like
White noise.
Yeah, like
like-
Neil Young playing guitar.
Whoa.
like when both of you guys have your headphones open. Or when you're using
Oh my
it.
god, yes.
Oh, holy crap, Decus. And I sort of like grip my head a bit.
Well, did you get anything useful? What happened?
Useful is a interesting word. Can you cast message?
I think he might have it. Hang on, close this freaking sheet. Ah, no, he doesn't have that one. It's a cantrip, so he can't even learn it. He's got light, mage hand, prestidigitate, poison spray, and ray of frost.
Yeah. Well, it had something to say, I just don't know what.
But I don't know if that was at the Redshift or was who are you talking to? You don't even know who you were talking to. Maybe it was a guardian.
No, it wasn't the Guardian. I pointed at the Redshift. The creature has to be in line of sight.
Maybe it bounced back, though.
Or was it your spell being reflected? Exactly.
That's not how that spell fails, though. The spell just doesn't work.
Well, this is a strange space, though.
Many things don't work the way they're meant to here, but again, I'll write it down.
All right.
We haven't learned nothing today.
Maybe we could figure out how to talk to it.
Maybe
Somebody
it's friendly after all. What would you say if you could, Albus Tabber?
We come in peace. I'm not a diplomat, I'm a student.
Though, to be honest, it's been a little bit less than peaceful even for us.
The fair cop.
How do you normally open up a dialogue?
I'm not the best at diplomacy myself. I'd probably try to ask it what it was trying to do.
I'm reminded of the telepathic exchange during Independence Day. What do you want? For you to die.
Right.
If that prince whose notes we pilfered had any thoughts about it, he said that it did indeed want us to die.
Yes, he did.
Hostile killing force, which
That's what it likes is killing.
the Redshift is pretty efficient at that.
Yep.
You know, in all the decades I've studied this place, it wasn't until just recently that I'd come to think about it in such an anthropomorphic way. This was a phenomenon, not a creature, till now.
I think that's fair. I mean, we didn't know until we
We had no
knew.
way of knowing. Unless Daymare had decided to share his studies with the world, but as far as the good guys are concerned, I'm still the first one, right?
Dragon. Doesn't count. He's a dragon.
What are you saying?
I
That
see.
their
Is that how that
informational
works?
network is different than other people's?
I'm saying they're evil.
Sure
Oh,
enough.
I
but,
see.
I mean,
They're not on Team Good Guy. Got it.
yeah, right.
You
Okay.
don't get the medals and whatnot if you're using your studies for evil, as it happens.
Well, and you likewise, you keep it to yourself, right? The whole point of the guild is, teaching, uniting, sort of building a community. Dragons tend to hoard, which is bad for that.
I mean, sure, but wasn't this dragon part of like the evil dragon's network of evil?
Well, it
Just
was the
his
top
family.
of its
That's
evil level
that's the
marketing
anime,
scheme.
by the way.
Right, yeah.
Also, not that I particularly need a medal for all of this, but I wouldn't mind being at the top over the title of all the books that'll be written. That would be good.
It's good to have a goal.
I think that's worthy glory.
I'm old. I can't help but think about the legacy in
Right.
30 years.
How will I be remembered?
I plan on building an agency here.
Ooh, gets new cantrips at 11. That's cool.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The cantrip damage
Cantrip
upgrades.
effects.
Yes.
Oh, right. I
Because
forgot
this
about that.
entire time, I haven't been doing softer. I could do packed earth now. I can add
He
color too.
says, yes. I mean, the Redshift was a dead end for centuries, right? I've had my share of ridicule for thinking something could be done about it. So, thanks. We do need somebody risking their lives out here besides just me. The tower is pretty close now, isn't it?
Yes, very close.
Could ride there in a day if it wasn't for the Redshift.
And yet it never gets any bigger the closer we get.
It's an illusion.
Maybe.
Or another stranger space.
I'll have to stay here and finish all the work with the obelisk and the fort here so that you all have a place to rest when you get back. I won't be able to go with you to the tower immediately as much as I'd like to, but
If you're going to help him there.
you're very far away.
That might not have been directed at us. You might have been
Maybe.
literally very far away, yeah.
You'll have to take copious notes, Albus Taver. Counting on you.
Oh, I absolutely will. Do you want to see my map of interdimensional space again? Maybe it's relevant.
Is that the one that you drew that one time? That one time in the Flower Sea?
Yeah. When I was, walking through
Yeah.
that space.
Well, he won't say no. If you're just gonna pull it out and show.
I mean, it is still incomprehensible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's where I got out, despite having looped over back this way 3 different times.
But the days go on, and you suffer no ill effects for your experiment.
Okay, that's good at least.
When the Redshift finally shreds away, it is the last day of the month. It is bright and sunny, breezy and cool, cold even. The days are getting pretty short around now, so you want to leave in the early morning so you can make camp before it gets pitch dark.
That's pitch black.
We're gonna exit through the gate, right?
Oh, that depends on where you want to go.
True.
Like Dex said, I'll be staying here. I'd like to go help Arisa with her project, but I need to make sure things are secure at this new fort first. We'll be getting material. Vidar is going to be sending materials up through her side, and I'll be helping them around here. So if you come back to this spot, and we should have a decent little camp set up for you by then. It'll hopefully be a bit warmer for everybody except me and Naya.
Well, at least the fireplace is sound.
Did you say it was the end of the last month?
It's the 30th of Tatus, which is the 10th month.
Okay.
But from here, you have decisions to make about where you want to go.
Oh. Shit. Wasn't there like this place that could have been really nearby?
Like a day's ride, maybe?
Like a day's ride that had to do with fucking red gem technology? University or something?
Yeah, somewhere in the shadow of the tower, right?
Yeah.
Arisa did mention that she's pretty sure that there is an academy somewhere in or near the city.
Yeah, did I get like a direction?
She's not sure. She doesn't remember.
That's all I gotta say. Well then. Nice little grove over there. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, shouldn't we get back to like all settings?
You want to?
Well,
I'm talking to the group here. We shouldn't go to the tower per se.
Well, maybe there are ruins around it, right?
No, I thought it was just a big ass fucking hole.
Shouldn't we see?
No.
doesn't somebody have a spyglass so we don't have to actually go there?
But
I
it looks
mean-
the same.
It looks the same. It looks like a giant fucking hole with a bunch of tentacles coming out of it.
And the spyglass only lets you see twice as far or twice as well. You still only see about 2 miles across the horizon flat.
Well, let's see. Where was the view of this image here? So when we look at it, It's
Yes,
There we
this was
go.
through that old telescope.
yeah, we can see the two. It appears there's two rivers and some nearby woods that were feeding into it.
Right. I confirmed that when I was doing my scrying.
So I would say if we can locate one of those two rivers and kind of trace up along it, we might find where nearby civilization was located.
I thought those were wires.
I know, so did I.
Are they wires or
Yeah.
rivers?
No,
they're-
but that's
they're-
the rivers, and
yeah.
that's the scale of the thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. If we're looking for clues nearby, but we're trying not to actually, really tempt the beast, maybe trying to find one of those rivers and trace it maybe up or down towards the tower or away. Trying to see if we can find maybe a university or, any other vestiges of civilization that we can discover and get some notes
I think
from.
that hole right there is the city.
Well, that might be the main city, yes, but there's, places outside. It's a capital city, so it's going to have all sorts of nice towns and villages and cities of its own, nearby. Might not be on the grand scale. It might not have lasted as well as some of these bigger ones, but that doesn't mean that they didn't exist. If the location is just like an abbey that also works for what would you say, research and education sort of stuff, that might be a facility we'd find, for example, but it also could have been built out of wood and the whole thing is gone.
I would like to know what that hole looks like. Is there a city down there? Is it all destroyed?
Well, and
I also would like to know if anything reacts to us getting closer to the tower. So there are several things that we could do if we just headed east. One day's ride.
one day.
One day's ride. I say, scribbling this into my. This song is entitled "One Day's Ride."
I think you're crazy.
Well, let's
the
be
first
real
lyric.
for a second, though, right? Like, we have to do this eventually. Are we
know.
actually
Are
going
we
to be
prepared for that?
any more prepared than we are right this
I
second?
was going to say, we just had a full fucking rest. None of us had spent any spells at all. We are right now about most ready as we can be.
Oh yeah, you should all click the long rest button on your character sheets if you
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
do
good
that
call.
already.
But yes, we can. We have one in the works right now.
I'll be right back. I can hear you, but I'm going to AFK for a second.
Okay.
We're the most ready than we could be for anything right
No,
now.
you both have forgotten about Arissa and the fucking whole trying to understand the basics of this technology that we're stepping right up towards. You're like walking up to a giant fucking nuclear reactor without knowing how nuclear fission works.
What the hell are you talking about?
You got an Oppenheimer manual or some shit?
What do you mean, what the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about the study that Arissa is doing on the red crystal technology, which is the basis of the proxy technology.
No, that
What's
other
a
one that you were
nuclear?
talking about.
That was a metaphor. It often used literary device in order to explain one thing while using another. I was saying that.
So fucking arrogant. I swear to God.
I'm sorry. What do you mean? What do you mean?
That's my
I don't know. I've ever heard the word nuclear before. I don't know what you're
Oh no,
referring.
that was out of character. Okay, now I understand what you mean.
Yes. Now you get it.
That's like walking up to a ritual mid-chant and not knowing if interrupting it's going to have a backlash.
Oh, nice. Roll Arcana to make sure you actually understand that metaphor.
I have a +2 in Arcana.
All right. I'll let you roll on that then. That's good.
Yeah, +2, you
Think,
probably get it passively.
That's what I'm saying.
Backlash
Like,
is
plus
one of
two,
those
you at
like
least get a
wild
3 or
magic
4, which
things.
is you don't know what magic they're doing here, son.
Yeah.
I got a +9 on insight, which could make me assume that interrupting a big ass spell might be bad news.
Yeah, fair enough.
And a +8 deception to just lie on the spot.
Right? Just be like, fuck it, this is all bullshit fabrication, but you don't know that.
I'm not going to lie, Verde. I'm assuming she's going to fail.
Then I want to at least be able to deal with Gemry and take the crystal that is there and try to pursue the end of that sort of quest line.
To use your metaphor about nukes, someone had to investigate Chernobyl before they could send experts in.
Right.
Those people died.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
And we
and
try
that,
to remember them, but we can't because
the
we don't know their
protective
names.
gear,
That's our job.
the protective gear that they were wearing wasn't good enough.
How could it be they didn't know what they were about to go look at?
All right.
We're not going to get any better gear than we have.
Well, we might. We might get some like cool red crystal interface device that lets us interpret the static.
Right. But we would still need to go investigate that place. I don't even mean we need to go inside. I'm saying that we can't make a plan until we really know what's over there.
A big ass tower and some illusion.
Right. So, for example, can we pierce that illusion?
It might be
I mean, I have true speech,
Yeah.
true seeing, and so does
okay.
so does Neuro.
What if the glass jar bit that the proxy over at Gemery can do? That seems like a tenuous maybe line into the abilities of the Redshift.
OOC, I would call that a containment field.
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, I think there's an avenue for Arista to get physical form in learning what that technology does. But I don't think that that's relevant to whether or not we need to recon the tower up close.
Yeah, I know. I only want to go up close to the tower when I know it's not going to trigger some world-ending event, and I have.
Well, we may never know that, Verdi. I mean, we just may
and
never know that.
and I happen to perhaps have all of the knowledge I could possibly glean from.
I kind of feel like he's
Proxy
looking for loot.
No, I'm not skimming for loot. No, it's more like
He wants to
I know this
the act before he moves on.
kind of, but it's more like I know this place is sketchy, and I put up
For loot.
and I put up that barrier in my head about
Gold I'm after.
no about how things could change once you get into this proximity right here. So if you want to go with that metaphor, it's more like, no, I just don't want to fuck up our ending because we missed the whole, Arissa figuring out, that she can actually manipulate the space in between the fucking obelisk energy.
Yeah, I get it. Esperanto. It means hope, doesn't it?
It means
And then it,
star and hope or something.
It means hope. That's a Red Dwarf reference.
So if we were going to try to trace the river, it looked like it was coming from the pretty sharply northwest or north by northwest, somewhere in that range. I don't
Hard
know
to
where
tell
it bends
exactly
from there.
so far away, but they look roughly north and roughly south.
If we got ourselves to about here, we could probably have Badath and Naya take a little bit of an aerial view. Maybe lift Albus if it's safe to map out the area a little bit better and see where we can go. See if there's anything we notice. That way we aren't getting too close to the tower. Half a day's ride, and then we'll just be back if we want to. Or from there, we can decide to start
We could
chasing.
wind walk it.
Oh, that wouldn't replenish though.
But it lasts 8 hours.
I'd be worried about what happens if it randomly gets dispelled by a cloud that we can't see. This place is still wild.
Fair. You should keep low.
Keep low. Haven't had
Did
any
you just hit
problems
the
with
ground at 300 feet a second? I'm sure that's fine.
that. Okay. But yeah, that's stuff outside of Vess that's still intact, I think, is what we need to be seeking right now in general. I think that's where we're going to start finding more parts of the puzzle. We get lucky, we'll find an academy that specializes in the red crystal technology. Or we might find the guard post or something, some sort of hub where the creatures, the sentries, amass, and see what we can do from there. Could very well be some ancillary, not noteworthy proxy that was set up somewhere that's just running it. One that maybe even came after a Risen or Tower or something. There could be a lot of things. But yeah, I don't think we should go straight to the tower yet. Definitely not. No.
That's not what I was suggesting either, to be clear. I think we need to approach the tower and reconnoiter.
Yep.
We don't need to go inside or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all.
And I suppose another
I
part
think
of...
I don't think I feel like I can't possibly have adequately conveyed the experience of being scryed upon as I scryed and approached the tower. I was seen before I ever got anywhere near the tower. And
oh, you were pretty close. I mean, you were within a
then
mile
what?
or two of the
Okay.
pit.
I mean, I could see the forest coming into view. I could see that it was
You
indeed a
were-
river.
Your eyes were as though through a bird atop the trees,
Right.
near one of atop one of the woods.
Right. And the thing that looked like a wire in the image, yeah, that was actually a river, which was like,
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then the creature was actually still that day, wasn't moving. But the scale of things is so vast that it boggles the mind. But I think the sense of trying to convey the presence of something that was fully aware that I was there, I need to get that to you. We're not going to reconnoiter in secret. It's going to know we're there. So if we go, we could trigger something. It might not trigger something, and we don't know.
See, even Naya agrees with me.
Is there fear in me talking about it? Oh, hell yes. I mean,
that's a sign. Naya never agrees with me.
Well, pretty much there's two outcomes that I'd be worried about. One, it sucks us in. Two, it gets up and starts chasing us.
Yep.
Either of those two doesn't have...
catastrophic.
Yeah, they are both catastrophic. So that's why I want to, get kind of close to see the nearby peoples and their anything that we can find, really. Maybe we can find a map of a little bit more of the kind of intimate this and that's in the area that'll help us get a little bit more guidance. big city like this would probably have plentiful large maps. All we
Okay,
need
well,
is one to
I
be
get the feeling
preserved
like
in a
you guys are
scroll.
not hearing me at all, or you don't care.
Oh no,
So
I
I'm just
understand.
letting you know
I
that if you get
understand.
anywhere near the tower and you get close enough, you will be seen and or sensed or whatever, and it may or may not flip a coin, trigger an event. Are we prepared to be attacked directly, any more directly, and in the face of, like in your face kind of directly, than we've been attacked before by the Redshift? If we're ready for it, then okay, let's go. If we're not ready for that, then no, we shouldn't go. Because
Honestly, I think we're
it
a
will
little
sense
bit
that we're there.
more
I
powerful than
don't
we've
know
ever
that we know
been.
how to be prepared to fight the Redshift itself.
I think I agree with you.
Well,
Beyond what
let
we
me-
have with our our crystals, our beacons.
Right.
You know?
No, let me present a scenario to you, though. Orissa cracks the case, and we manage to save Gamoree and in some way harness a device that we need to take to the tower. We know nothing about the tower. We know nothing about the surrounding area. But the device is obelisk-sized, so there's no way we can do it alone. We have to take civilians with us.
And it's going to be on a big ass cart. Like it's going to be.
We
visible.
get within a mile of the tower, and we are immediately struck down by some defense that we had no idea existed because no one had reconnoitered the area before we brought civilians in to be killed needlessly.
Oh well, just yes, but also that our whole thing fails at that point too.
Right. We're the ones. We're the vanguard. This is our job. This is why we are here.
Fair enough.
If we're not going to do this, we should not be here.
Fair enough, Mon. Right on.
Army training, sir.
And the only other entity.
Okay, I'm just trying to pass along what I know from my experience with it. And we just need to be mentally, physically, spell-wise, everything prepared for an encounter. What that encounter might be like, I have no fucking idea.
I also think we should stay out of the tower's actual hex. So
Yes.
the effects that you experienced, Naya, happened within a mile of the tower. That's within the hex on the map that represents the base of the tower. I think if we stay out of that hex, we may be safe.
Yeah, I'm not saying we get any closer than about 10 miles from the tower.
Right, I get what you're saying. That makes sense to me, because that will at least tell us if there's any kind of long-range defense, what kind of ruins exist. Like, I think we can learn a lot of valuable information even from there.
Yep, that's all.
All right.
Also, like, I'm not any more prepared to fight than I am right now. Like,
right, unless we literally discover some miracle tech or ancient artifact or relic, I don't think we're going to be any more prepared than we are now.
Right. Like, so the worst thing that could happen is a lot of little ablative things that wear away our spells and our, if there's going to be a big opposition, let it happen now while we're all stoked.
I am not stoked.
More stoked than you will be, after you fight a bunch of little bullshit.
No,
I don't know.
No.
I could level one more time.
Okay. I mean, okay. If it's 3 dogs and then the big boss, you fucked up on the 3 dogs, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be that the closer we get to the tower, the less our banners and attire are able to protect us from the scrutiny of the guards. It could be that the sentries will attack us because we've gotten close enough that their systems and detection and everything is now
that's
able
all
to
very
clear
specific.
through.
I'm just being like straight up. Like, we have a full rest. I haven't cast any spells at all. Like, if we're gonna fight something really bad, start now. Don't go fight a bunch of bullshit in the way, because then we'll have to have a whole other rest. Like, no, we're ready right now. We won't be ready if we dig around.
Amber Green's got a good point. We have been in far worse situations where we had a fight, we're on the way home, and had to fight again. And we all
We're all
almost
fresh.
croaked.
We're all fresh.
We're actually all fresh, and we have all our spell slots, and
it's not
And
even
we
the
have-
combat that I'm worried about. It's not even the fighting, because we're great at that. It's other things we might encounter. That's what I'm a little bit more worried about. What sort of traps, what sort of ripples in reality exist as we come closer that are hard to navigate.
I refuse to believe that we're not going to have to solve some challenges along the way to get inside that tower and actually resolve all of this. I don't know what those challenges are, though. We need to figure that part out.
That's why we have a really smart elf.
Even knowing what we can about that chasm
I hope
there.
you're not talking about my intelligence 12 ass.
Oh wait, let me double check here. Oh yeah, my int is a 10. You're very smart. You're very smart.
My int's a 14.
All right. You know what? I'm
I would
going to
think
do
of
one
you
of
as
those
smart
things.
if you weren't such a fucking clever little bitch.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to reach into the big old bucket of things. Oh, wait, no. I'm not a sage. I'm an entertainer. One of us was a sage,
also-
right?
Also, don't tell anyone, but my wisdom is actually a natural 20.
What's the
I'm in tune with like the musical like being of things.
who was the sage in the party? Or am I
Oh
thinking
my
of
god,
somebody
an old soul. Oh fuck.
That's a different game.
Well, no, I thought that was somebody, but maybe
That's
it
a
was
different
from
game.
way back in the early days, like one of the folks that was around when we first started.
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to stress about it. Yeah, never mind.
I
The
do
thing
have
I
a
was
20 whiz though. I just realized.
the
looking at
thing
my
I
character.
was going to say, I am not going to say because it is not correct. So,
Okay.
I'm going to say though it is definitely a good idea to think about what sort of conditions and situations we've seen all throughout the Redshift, all the weird storms, odd creatures. For all we know,
precipitation.
yeah, there could be death bugs waiting there. Maybe that's where their actual big hive is. For all we know, it's death bugs the whole way through, and they were the real
Yeah.
baddies all along.
Well, we don't have any idea. Yeah.
Well, they're squishy now.
I mean, I understand. I understand about wanting to reconnoiter and scout out what's there, but
I
if I was
understand
going to
your
do a
concern.
scouting expedition, I'd be wild shaping into something ordinary.
I completely understand, especially because you personally had an experience that none of us have witnessed or attempted ourselves yet.
Well, I think Mont probably has some idea, but it didn't go the same way. So I have, unfortunately, it caused me to have fear where I didn't before. And, maybe that's healthy. But it's kind of an obstacle right now for me because I feel like going in too soon, wrong attitude, unprepared, make a list, is probable death sentence for all of us. So I just kind of, I'm very leery, and you should hear the fear coming from me. I want you to hear it. I want myself to hear it so that I know that I'm not just reacting and being stupid in my reactions. It was scary, and I'm still scared. So, I understand all of the arguments. Like I said, if we were just scouting, I would probably do it in wild shape.
Well, consider it
Definitely
scouting
would.
then.
No, you definitely would.
If we're only
Our
getting
history shows that when you do scouting, you do it in wild shape.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we're going to be getting within 10 miles of the tower, that's, I would hope, a plenty safe distance where we can, both you and Badath, take to the skies. We can get a better view of the area. And from there, we wouldn't be moving towards the tower any further. It would be finding what's, kind of lateral to the tower or radially about the same distance or further, not approaching more than 10, within 10 miles, just keeping our distance, but seeing what we can find. And, if at any point things get hairy and we get real beat up, we can, find some way to get back to Fort Kita, or otherwise, if we don't want to have things chase us back there, there's other exits that we have available. I think though it would be a wasted opportunity. I can't think of anything else that would be a better use of our time and effort than knowing more about the region close to the point of interest of this entire investigation. I gotta say, I wasn't so worried about Morio, but if Nasharala and Zoramos decided to just stomp us out right then and there the first time we met, we'd already be dead. We instead have not only defeated them, we've overcome a literal red dragon.
I don't want to go there because it produces arrogance. And we go in arrogant and we're stupid. We need to go in there
humble,
wary, and slightly paranoid, but hyper aware.
I'm with Paul on this.
So it's like, that's fine. If you want to go in, we'll go in. If everybody else agrees that that's what we're going to do, then I'll be there and I'll heal your asses or whatever. But I'm just trying to communicate this very visceral kind of
I feel like we lucked out a lot.
I feel like I'm lucky to be alive.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we lucked out a lot.
Right. I mean, we're talking about the luck of the rolls. But there were a couple of fights that went long, and some of us were pretty close to buying it.
I've only died like 7 times.
I remember the first time we hit the death bugs. I was dead.
That's what I'm saying. I have died like 7 times.
You were down.
None of you
there's a difference between dead and down.
The only one person is actually dead.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. It was Lauren's brother?
Half brother.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, I don't want to put a damper on the whole thing, but I want to put a damper on arrogance or overconfidence or any of those kinds of things that can make us completely oblivious to the situation that we're walking into, which is totally unknown.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't think we wouldn't be walking into it without the utmost amount of caution. I wouldn't even say, to ride at full speed. We can take our time and observe things as we see them, because we might not only be noticing things that will save us and spare lives and stuff along the way, but we might also be able to find things that are, potential points of opportunity that we would have missed if we just keep on charging by. It would probably be a good idea. We don't have to, walk necessarily, but not going at our full speed and really being aware of our surroundings. That's definitely the way I would imagine we approach this. I speak of our former events and where we're at and all of that, not out of arrogance, but more to encourage and embolden that, this is.
Yeah,
we've been on the forefront of this.
I don't think this is a situation for emboldening. I think it's much more relevant and important to be entirely aware of how you are and how it makes you feel right now. If it makes you feel fear, feel fear and do it anyway. If it doesn't make you feel fear, okay. But the emboldening kind of thing to me right now feels false.
Oh,
So I'm going to be with, this is how I feel, and I'm just going to be with that. And that's how they define courage, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. So that's what I'll do.
Oh, that wasn't
100%. You cannot be courageous if you're not afraid.
I would worry if you weren't afraid about going there.
Say what?
I said I would worry if you weren't afraid about going there.
Yeah, I mean, all of us would, but also to what Polaris is saying is, it's not courage if you're not conquering fear. If you're just like,
right, confidence is not courage.
Right. Yeah, if you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, that might be stupidity. It's not necessarily courage.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our Leroy Jenkins moments, but it's like,
right.
For Naya, this is a very visceral reaction, and she hears and understands all of the perspectives, and there's merit in all of them. And she's over here figuratively and somewhat literally shaking in her boots, knowing that it's got, you're right. We were going to have to get here someday. Well, someday's here. Is this the right time? I don't know.
Well,
sure enough, but it's not courage if you're not afraid.
I suppose for me, it's just that curiosity itself is overwhelmed sense of danger. I guess kind of like a cat that I know it's dangerous. I know it is. This is potentially the most dangerous territory we have ever stepped foot in.
I think a cat is the best description because they're not afraid.
Because I just want to know. I want to know so much more about this tower. Not even to touch it, just to learn more about what it was and what it meant and who lived around it. And then from there, that and all of our other workings and research and any wacky things that come up along the way, that will hopefully give us more of the information and more of the things that we need to know. Other than the fact that this is such a heavily patrolled area because we're in Vest proper, and it is, always nice and pristine and green like this, I suppose. It's, it's very much like everything else that we've done up to this point. Every time we leave, there's no guarantee we're coming back. We have no idea what's out there, except the few times we do, and it's just cleanup. But that's, usually not the case. Usually we're...
Yeah, I get it. I've not felt this kind of visceral fear in any other circumstance in the years that we've been out here. I think that there is a residual something that happens in a telepathic exchange, like in the example that I mentioned, OOC before. It changes you when you have kind of a mind link like that. Montlaran has also experienced some of this, but he's responding differently to it. He has a greater will or something.
we should go.
So in my case,
In his case, I think it's his sense of duty and compulsion to his code of honor and
yeah, maybe. I don't know what it is, and I don't know that he can explain it, and maybe that would be a cool thing to talk about at some point, but at least for the moment, you all seem to be wanting to do this, so I will go as well.
He's even like a fairy tale elf. Like he's not like an elf from our world. He came from somewhere. He's a weird elf.
You're a dwarf, and I understand dwarfs.
I'm even a weird dwarf. I'm a dwarf that hangs out on the hillside and
meadow
shepherds.
Dwarf. Right, exactly.
Right, I'm a meadow dwarf.
Spent too many years with the dwarfs. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not actually about whether I'm afraid or not. It's necessity, right? The world doesn't get better unless somebody addresses this problem. So we volunteered.
Yep.
We gotta go.
There's the problem.
Let's go.
Yep. I actually agree with
I agree.
the elf at this point.
There's always retreating. There's always going back. We're not committed to a task in such a way that if we don't go 10 miles and investigate, we're going to be executed when we come back. There is no such thing like
No,
that.
she's much more likely to chop our heads off because she's so mad we risked it.
Well, I think that
No?
realistically, we've hit a wall. We're not going to make any forward progress until we know more about what lies ahead. And at this
Exactly.
I think that's fair.
point,
Yeah,
stepping forward is the only way we make any of those knowledge gains, right?
we gotta go.
I'm pretty sure at this point the Brigadier would give us the agency and trust us to do what we think is safe. And we, I guess, would be maybe talking about it as an average across the group, where obviously we understand where you stand on it, and we respect that and appreciate that you'll be joining us regardless of your reservations. But it's going to be an interesting sort of thing. It's the sort of thing where we could just as easily come up empty-handed, see nothing, and nothing happens, essentially, as it is that we find something that will really help us along the way, or we go to some lake and all of a sudden it kicks us into the past again to I don't know what at this point, because we've already experienced the crux of everything, Holtzman.
That's why we gotta go.
It's why we've got to go.
Let's go.
I'm ready. I'll start rallying up the horses.
Well,
I
thine
was-
token.
I was actually going to suggest taking it slow and cautious anyway, so maybe we just literally walk. I mean, we could
Sure.
walk there in a day.
Yeah, we can walk. I'm fine with
I
that.
don't think that's a bad idea.
Packed pretty
As
light
long as
right
we're
now.
going.
Okay.
How long does it take to roll up Phantom Steed?
10 minutes per, or 11 minutes per.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
55 minutes for the whole party.
Okay. So there really isn't a way
And
to
then
use
there's
it
5
fast.
minutes of downtime.
Well, actually,
So
at this point, because we've got 2 people on mounts, we could probably reduce the amount. Albastaver can ride his own. He's got that. Montlarin, maybe you could get Ambergreen on
That's
there.
true. Then it only raises your party speed to 50 instead of 100.
Yeah. And I think just the idea of things that can move faster, but we aren't going at that faster speed, in case we've got to go over some treacherous terrain, like, some mud or something. Phantom Steeds don't mind it too much.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Minimum speed 60. That's right.
yeah, I was going to say the Warhorse is 62 as well, if I recall correctly. Yep, speed 60.
And also,
at
don't
what
worry.
speed will you go?
I would say if we do walk, don't worry too much about encumbrance, because we do have some saddlebags.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not encumbered right now. I'm at 58 instead of
I
60.
don't think anybody but Montlarin is encumbered right now.
Right. I'm literally
Yeah, I'm not.
encumbered by my combat gear, so
Yeah.
that's never going to change. So I'm just going to ride Bet Mountie and keep up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going at normal hiking speed then.
Trot.
Yeah.
Very well. Then you can reach the 3rd hex within the day. Go ahead to whichever of those 2 hexes you'd like.
I figured this was where. Whoop. I figured that we were going to stop over here. Isn't this about 10 miles out?
That's 12.
12. Okay. So then, yeah, probably about here.
Trying to find where those rivers might be.
Yeah, at least the closer river.
I'll
Like,
use
from the
all of my
image, it kind
knowledge
of
in
looked
geography.
Yeah,
kind of looked like north and south, but
well,
according to the
when
right,
I
one is east, northwest, and one is northeast.
here's how I figure. Let me see. It's gonna be all the way up here. So from that angle, if you extrapolate where the rivers are at, they're both kind of to the side and the back a little bit. So that's maybe the one on the right needs to be a little further up, but the one on the left I think is approximately where it's going out. But again, we have no idea where it winds to. It goes underground at some point, so we know there's an active river that flows there, and it comes out in approximately that direction. Beyond that, it's a big blank, and that's part of our little investigation here.
Yep. I concur with your orienteering for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's the. It took a little.
The name sound.
If you saw me draw the line earlier, that's what it was all about.
I was
I
wondering
flexed.
what you're looking at.
I didn't until you started talking, but I flexed out to the whole map and was like, oh, now I see what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You're doing trig. Yeah, totally.
I got my orienteering badge when I was in the Boy Scouts.
Well, don't forget, arcane mathematics was one of the fields of study that my instructor was very well versed in.
I
And
looked
so
very close
I
to
got
see
to
if you have your bear patch.
learn a lot about that sort of stuff.
Dark when you get here. Do you want to scout a little bit further, or do you want to make camp?
Oh, we'll have to camp so we can.
What is
scout by light?
what is the weather?
Yeah.
The weather is merely chilly.
Is it clear or overcast?
It is mostly clear. Yes, tonight, luckily.
Might be worth doing some scouting in the dark.
Yeah.
Don't know that if light matters or not, but might be worth it.
That's a good question because how does dark vision work for like a bird that's flying, for example?
Well, most birds don't fly at night. Bats do, but they have sonar.
Well,
Oh.
but that's an owl, so technically the night's
Right,
kind of his thing.
Naya can do owl, and the owl has dark vision.
Yeah, they've got a range of dark vision, just like most.
Yeah, so it's 120, so they won't be able to. There won't be any like seeing far on the horizon in the distance so much, but unless it's a really bright moon. How's the moon looking?
Mostly clear, he said.
Mostly clear. Average moonlight. It's not particularly bright.
Okay, so we probably don't have enough to really make out ridges and stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, no. Especially not without any kind of dark vision.
Okay. Well, that being the case, I'd probably be more focused on getting up our bubble and then letting Naya go scouting from there. Letting Naya, I apologize. Encouraging Naya to go scouting because she had said something about going scouting while I was putting the bubble up. But I said, no,
Okay.
don't go yet. You got to be in it when I cast it. Otherwise, you can't come in.
That is true.
That is. Everybody but the horse fits.
What will everybody do after the tiny hut is created.
Archaeology? I'll investigate the local area. Still looking for that river.
I'll be practicing my music, I suppose.
I'll go
Staying
with you.
chill.
Alice.
I'll probably also be like working to make sure we have like a fire pit and everything's doing okay. Everyone's got their food they need. Maybe we got some herbs or something. You know,
Yeah.
gotta make tea.
Fire pit's easy now. I just point at the ground. There's a fire pit.
Well, I mean that's great, but I have a +5 in survival also, so I can make sure that your like magically manifested one isn't like, you know,
The
displaying
right
our
shape. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. I can fix it up, make sure it's right. But also,
These
yeah,
little vents at the bottom. You know.
you know what I'm saying. I have a +5 in my survival roll, so like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's on top of my, you know, literally 20 wisdom. So, you know.
Albus, you
I know
can
how to make
a
this shit work.
18 investigation check with advantage for Montlaren's help to look around the nearby area for anything interesting.
Thank you.
Nice.
So I should note that as you approach the area that you're in, the tower does not get larger as usual, but the protrusions at its base are visible over the horizon.
That's fucking stereotypical illusion bullshit.
With your
disbelieve.
investigation check, all that you find is there's a couple patches here and there that indicate to you a long lost cobbled road heading westward.
Heading west towards the keep.
The keep that we just came from.
Seems plausible.
Ish.
Why don't we follow the brick road, Mont? Not back towards the keep, mind you. I mean the other direction.
Right. Try to find it the other way. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I'll definitely try to mark it on my map, yeah. Yeah, I'll keep walking until I get a bad vibe check.
Do you get a bad vibe when it starts to curve south?
Oh,
south. But which direction?
Southeast.
Towards the tower.
Yeah, towards the tower.
Oh yes, but when you look up from your notes, when you take your nose out of the sheet, you are looking dead on at the tower.
But it hasn't gotten like bigger or anything. It's still towery.
Correct. But from where you're standing, at least the spot of road that you can see, that's the direction it's aiming, at least at the moment.
Take out my spyglass and I'll give it a good look. This is a rather convincing illusion.
I don't
Yeah.
think you'd see anything new there that you couldn't see from here.
Question.
There's no like townships or like cities or even like a fucking waylay house or a fucking
Waylay house. That doesn't sound good.
no. I mean
Weird.
one for
He's like, a murder shack.
no. I mean one for
Come on.
for the post.
There hasn't been a post in 1,000
A
years.
mile house? Oh,
Yeah, I mean like a
yeah.
mile house. This is an empire.
Gotcha. That is a
Right?
good
There's
point.
there's no mile house. There's no like place for somebody to rest.
Yeah.
There's no fucking farm. There's no fucking like this big fucking green field for an empire that's been around for thousands of years. Like I'd expect at least a pillar. There's no column. Where's a herm? I'm looking for a marker. There's nothing fucking here, Mon. We're already in the illusion.
Interesting. Or it's not an illusion and this isn't our Vess.
We're like looking at a different vest.
Do you remember what Holtzman said about taking truths from other places?
Yeah.
Maybe this is another place that didn't have that kind of development, or
How did you get here? How did we all?
well, maybe
Is it the
Redshift
Redshift?
expressed that truth, you know?
That's what I was saying. Is
Shifted
it the
it
red
all
shift?
away. Right.
Fucking like
Perhaps-
poof.
Well,
Perhaps
here we are.
Kita is only there because of the battle that we witnessed. Perhaps it was a truth that couldn't be sent away.
Well, and
Like a canon event.
what of the echoes you saw when we went? I wasn't there for all of them, but when you went places and you saw realities that weren't this one, what of those?
Right.
Yeah.
Echoes, remembrances.
And the village where the games were at, where we first had a flashback, was completely barren. So there was no making some surety that that place would remain when we revisit.
Perhaps they just
I-
didn't build 1,000-year buildings everywhere.
Well, and there's a few of us now understand True Sight. If you really think it would be useful to go use that, but what is that where we're going, or should
That's
we move
not
back?
all I'm saying is that for a place that should have had a city proper around it that is the capital of an empire. There is no signs nor reason of a city in the next 100 miles.
Can you guys see anything that looks like a giant octopus?
Oh,
Well,
you
we
can
see the
the
bottom tendrils,
protrusions.
right? Yeah.
Okay. So maybe when the giant tendrils showed up, it devastated the rest of the city, like wiped it off the map.
And all of the townships and
Yeah.
and any kind of like villa or
Well, look at the scale.
hovel.
The scale of the tendril being versus the rivers, the big forests on either side.
Yes, and I think you are not exactly understanding the scale that is being represented there that you are trying to tell me is absolutely large. I'm saying this entire green area here up until Chose or Alsanes, sorry, is barren of
Right.
any
We haven't
kind of
seen
ruin.
a settlement. Like the only ruin we've seen is Kita, in fact.
Yeah. That is fucking suspicious.
It is weird, isn't it? That said, I do agree that I wasn't expecting to find the ruins of Vess itself. I figure they're in that hole, but here there should be just as Alvis said, there should be manor houses, farms, vineyards.
Oh, at least a godforsaken herm. Where's my stack of stones marking the miles? Do you mark miles in your realm? Is this an elven thing? Do you not mark miles?
No, we do mark miles every 5. The army uses that to measure how far they march in a day along our roads.
Yeah,
Exactly.
as they would. It makes a lot of sense.
It's just fucking confusing.
So like, shifting your head left and right and tilting your head to look at the tower through the light. Does it make any changes that suggest it's really there, or is it always just a fixed proportion?
Can I roll disbelief?
I don't think that's a skill. But
No,
yeah,
no,
Lauren, you can even see the starlight glittering on the sides in places.
Interesting.
Now that you're this close.
Right.
I'm a fey being and a gnome, slightly twisted and insane. Can't I just be all like, no, that doesn't exist, and like will save?
I guess you can make a saving throw if you like.
Is that like a charisma saving throw? No, that doesn't exist.
Phonetically, in 2E, disbelief was a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. If it's not a real saving throw, I won't roll it. I'll just spam the poorly put together system that is Roll20.
Very well.
I don't know, just rolling, that die willy-nilly might be the next thing that crashes the system.
Oh yeah, there was that one time I had to go back and delete all of the chat history because it was making the game lag. That was funny.
Yeah, see?
That. Yeah.
That's exactly why you wouldn't want me to make, spurious rolls like that.
Thank you. Yeah, so
no, joke.
Will anybody do anything else besides sleeping tonight?
I'm too close to the tower to really get a lot of good sleep, but yeah. No.
From where we're at, I would probably just do what I can to kind of understand the shape of the tower and the tentacle things or whatever. If I can, do I see them from here? Do they kind of reflect the moonlight, or are they not really visible?
You can see the top half of the protrusions from over the horizon.
Kind of looking at them and seeing if over. I think we've established that they don't move, right?
They are not moving currently, and you don't see them move for the hours that you're looking towards.
Had they ever moved in all the observations of people posted up there looking through a telescope?
Nope.
Okay, those don't move.
And those stars in your sword still don't match the stars that you're seeing here.
Neat. Do the stars reflected on the tower reflect what's in the sky?
You think so?
Okay.
Yeah, probably not much else to do for the night.
Then I'll assume that the party keeps watch in the usual order.
Yeah.
Outside of the occasional arachnoid guardian poking by and glancing curiously at your dome.
And a horse and a banner by the horse.
Indeed.
Wow.
You're unbothered in the night, and the sun rises in the east like usual. Now that you have daylight, what would you like to do?
It's time to
Alright, guys, what's the whole like?
fly Badath up, look through his eyes, see what the area looks like. Encourage Naya and Albus to do a little high flying to try to get similar and get some of it mapped out. And see.
Okay, Naya, is that what you're doing? Naya, you there?
I'm here. I'm thinking. Naya's not really inclined to go fly up in the sky.
I guess.
All right,
Well,
I guess I can just go and walk up to it. Mont,
Sure.
I'll walk up to that hole.
I thought we were not going to go into that hex,
Well, I mean,
right?
we're-
And wasn't that the plan?
that was
we were
the
not going to
plan.
go into that hex.
That was the plan. I'm going to be at the very least trying to spot up where there's different points of interest on the horizon and see where there might be perhaps some dense ruins for us to investigate.
well, yeah, no, I'm not gonna like try to go that close to it, but like, no, we're gonna get closer to it than we've ever been.
Well, it'll be a 2 hour.
We've already been there. We are already closer than we've ever been.
Get
So-
in range without flight.
What about on horseback?
Yeah, I got a fast as shit.
It'll be a 1 hour ride.
Yeah, I got a fast as shit. Rodent.
Can we get to a place where we could see into the hole at a decent enough angle without actually getting within a mile of that tower? Because otherwise,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing this.
Is there
No.
is there Pantheon a hill?
No, there is not. The
Well,
terrain
then-
is the hole itself is at one of the highest points in. It's basically the highest point in the hex.
Got it.
Well, that would make sense if it was the city proper. We don't see any ruins of no city, do we?
Badath doesn't see anything besides the tower and basically the same as the view that you get from the telescope in the surrounding 6 hexes.
What about the river system? Where does that go on to in the surrounding hexes?
That you've actually got just about right.
Oh, neat.
The
So then,
North Side River.
I guess where does it extend? The I guess as far as to where it terminates in these hexes, where does it actually go to?
Yeah, that river continues going north. Well, it's flowing from north somewhere.
So more like that.
That's about right.
Okay. All right. Well, that gives a little bit better idea. And then the one around the other side, if there's an angle for Badath to see, where approximately does it come from?
It's a little bit harder to see, but you can tell that it goes more southward than you've got it.
Okay. Does it start about there, or does it start a little further north?
No, it starts about southeast south.
Okay, so more like this or more like that?
Your second one.
Okay, cool.
Third one rather.
You feel like you're at the doctor's office? More like this?
Yeah. Can you see it now? I guess where's the eraser for these things?
You have to click on them with the pointer and then delete them.
Ah, okay.
Awesome. That's exactly the interface decision I would have made if I was some sort of like designer of gaming related
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, it's really
perfect.
good when you like make a lot of really small ones because then you have to click each one individually.
Why don't you just drag and
So
click and
good.
highlight all of them, and
Exactly.
then
You can also do
Makes it
that.
so good.
Unless they're on the token layer and then you delete all the tokens.
And you
Nice.
definitely not have undo whatever you do, right?
No. Undo is for pussies.
Right. You got to take your hand off the piece and it's in play, man.
Now, what will everybody
Exactly.
besides Badath do?
But you're not coming up to scout, boss. I'm gonna use the bird as a distance thing.
Are you really going to go down there or up there? Excuse me.
I'm gonna use the bird as a distance measure. If the bird doesn't get shot down, then I'm not gonna get shot down.
Okay. Well, I guess. Oh God. Well, All right, fine. I'll watch your back.
We're fine. You're just scouting out the area for defenses, like you said, right?
Sure. Let's keep a wary eye.
All right, so you
Oh.
two are leaving the rest of the party behind
Weather.
to
Weather.
ride ahead to the
No,
tower.
wary eye.
Not weather.
No. I'm not a sailor.
Oh, fine. Okay. Well,
I'll take that as a yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, while Badath was up there, was Badath able to spot Fort Kita?
The range when he's flying up high enough for you to look through his eyes is just the surrounding 6 hexes.
Gotcha.
Usually.
I guess maybe then the question would be, does the path that we traveled coming here look the same as when we came here?
You don't see. It would be hard to say if anything specific has changed, but you don't see anything particularly out of place.
Okay.
You haven't got the whole space memorized, I'd say.
Right. So I probably have just been spending, those couple hours or whatever while they go gallivanting around and come back, just doing what I was doing there.
Okay.
Gallivanting. That's what
1
we're doing.
hour of gallivanting later, Montlarin and Albus Taver, you ride up to the point where you are near enough to the pit to potentially, if you would like to, approach and look inside. The tower rises up before you, and it is impossible to see where it terminates.
Yo.
From within the pit, the tendril or root-like protrusions stretch out from, it's hard to say, but probably the very base of the tower at the most central point, deep in the pit, and stretch up and out and around and shadow parts of the land you're standing on, being slightly east of, or rather, you standing slightly west of the tower in the morning. Now that you're here, you notice that the tower itself does indeed cast a shadow, and it's hard to tell where that terminates too. Looking into the pit from a little ways afar, you can tell that just by estimation, the pit itself is probably about a mile in diameter. And well, you can't quite tell how deep it is, because I'm still assuming you're a good maybe 1,000 feet away.
Yeah. I mean, there ain't a city here. Come on, there's no city.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing to scout out here. No university for us to pick through.
Does the pit look like a what's the best way to describe this? Does it look like the tower's protrusions burst through a roof, or does it look like the tower dug a hole under it?
The pit around the tower is very sheer. It's like a greedy slice out of a cake.
Huh.
Not perfectly round, a little jagged, but cut almost from the earth. Like like a chunk was lifted out or pressed down by a shapely press.
That's not what I was expecting at all, Elvis.
Like a cookie cutter?
Well, you could kind of put it that way, yeah. Like,
If the middle were solid, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's certainly something.
From here, can we better understand the material those tendrils are made out of? Like, does
They
it look
look the
like the skin of a
same
Redshift
shiny,
tower?
glittery white as the tower itself.
Gotcha.
And it may occur to you that, and this should be a little surprise because Arisa told you the same, that it's a more elegant and whiter material than that which Aris's tower was made out of. You may recall that she told you that her tower was sort of a inferior replica
Right.
of the
Like a
original.
scale model, yeah.
Well, the
Are
proxy's
those-
supposed to be intelligent, right?
I mean, that's the theory, at least. Are those tendrils in the same position as when we saw them in the spyglass?
Yes,
Stationary right now, right?
correct. You can't see their bases where they connect to the tower if they connect at all. You'd have to get closer to the edge of the hole to be able to see where they begin.
What was the proxy's name again?
The secretary, Holtzman, called her Aelita.
That's what it is. Aelita. I have it written down right here.
What's your intention, Elvis?
From about here, I wanna, say hey in my best announcer voice.
So just loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, you say, "Hey."
What a wonderful kind of day to laugh, to learn, and to, hang out. Aelita, are you there?
Your voice hangs in the air for a long moment. And as long as it'll hang without a response until you decide to let it go.
All right. We've scouted the area and I've dicked around with it just enough to feel uncomfortable. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, you ride back.
And get along with each other.
You return to your party unharmed and unchanged. Assuming the rest of the party was happy to wait 2 hours for you both to do that.
While they're thinking about it.
Oh no, I was waiting for them to finish.
Then while you all decide what exactly you're going to do next, you'll have a couple of weeks to make that decision. We'll do the rest of this expedition next session in 2 weeks.
It's good.
Man, thanks for the session.
Righteous, man. Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
And that's dope.
You are welcome.